Greetings, everybody. What is going on? Welcome to another episode of Heavy Metallurgy. And guess what? It's the first show of the new year. Happy 2026. Hope you're all doing fine. As an old guy, we didn't do anything. We're boring, old, and hope you had more fun. Anyway, I'm joined by two amazing individuals, one of which is my most awesome co-host. What's going on, Alan? How you doing today?
Doing all right. Happy New Year to everybody. Lots of folks filling in the chat already. Good to see a lot of returning faces. Already see a couple of new faces too. So thanks for checking out the show tonight. Hope you enjoy it. Yeah, we're just kind of taking it easy. You know, it's that first couple of days of the year where everybody's very happy to sit on their butt, watch football, not have to go to work for at least, one more day. And yeah, just do a few little things for fun. That's pretty much been it here. And Marty, you've been a very busy guy on the internet this week, including coming up this weekend, right?
Yep. Might as well call that out now. I'll remind everybody at the end. I've been asked to join Shredbeard and Toasted Goat over on the Mandatory Metal and Mayhem Sunday show. That's over on the Shredbeard channel. That's going to be starting at 8 o'clock Eastern time. Come to hang out. It'll be fun. Good conversation. Good fun show they do over there. So yeah. Thanks again to those guys for inviting me.
Yeah, Lee's in the chat already, and yeah, you'll have a great time over there. I did when I guested just a month or so ago.
Hope to not stink up the place too bad, but hey, we've got a returning guest, a gentleman we love deeply, and Patrick, welcome back from Ground Zero Salem.
Hey, man.
Hi, everyone.
How have you been?
I've been good. I hope everyone had a safe and happy New Year's, winter solstice, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, all that stuff. Just hanging out here in Salem. It's cold. It's been snowing. I just wrapped up my top 100 records of all time thing. It seems like a lot of people are liking that, so that's cool. Getting some good feedback. That's awesome. Looking forward to a productive year on the internet, talking about metal or whatever.
You had a little downtime because of a move, which is completely understandable. But man, I gotta say, we and Alan were talking when you went to go get a cord. Well, first Alan mentioned that he liked the fact that your list is very diverse. It doesn't just stick to just metal, and I like that too. But I also really just like the way you process and talk about music. So folks in the chat, if you are not familiar with Ground Zero Salem, link is in the description. Please go over there and subscribe to Pat's channel. It is fantastic. But yes, I've just, not to jump in out of turn here, but how does one process the top 100 albums? How is that even a thing that you said, you know what, I'm going to do this?
The key to me doing it was like not overthinking it. And not feeling guilt about there's going to be a video within the next month or two that's going to be like, hey, here's 30 records that should have been maybe in the top 10, like stuff that I completely forgot or like just got like kicked off the list or whatever. I'm like, oh, Slayer Show No Mercy. I listened to that. That's still one of my favorite. Didn't end up on there. Sepultura Rise, like all this stuff that should have been on there probably. It's just having fun with writing out the list and not worrying about stuff too much, basically. I wrote all of it down. I had a slow day at work and I just scrawled a bunch of it out. And then I color coded different echelons of it. Like, oh, this should be in the top 20. This should be in the 20 above that, different colors, like with highlighters. And I just kind of went from there. So it wasn't that hard. It was fun.
I've said it on here a million times. Oh, this album is easily in my top 5. I've had probably 150 top 5 worthy albums. So, I mean, let's be honest. Top 100 could easily be number 100 versions of number 1, depending on your mood and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
Folks, folks haven't checked out those videos. Pat did it. He broke it up into several different videos, and given his wide range of taste in music, it's really cool that you lumped everything into just, one big countdown. It's not just 100 metal albums. There's doom next to hardcore, next to crossover, next to Swedish death metal, next to world music.
Yeah, it's really like Righteous Pigs, Leonard Cohen. Yeah, like whatever.
Yeah, Aesop. What is it? Aesop Tales.
Yeah,
Aesop Rock.
Aesop Rock. Yeah, I hadn't thought of that in ages. And then you mentioned just like, holy crap, very very cool stuff.
Thank you.
Well, we appreciate you. Thanks for joining us again. And yeah, Alan, what are we doing today?
We are doing a seasonal list. Back last year, we did sort of albums. Actually, it's been 2 years since we did our music for summer video, and then we did a music for autumn video. And so, very obviously, tonight we're doing our 10 favorite Malaysian death metal albums, or albums that we play in winter, well, you know, whichever fits the bill better.
Yeah, sounds good. Pat, how is winter in Salem, Massachusetts? We all know how the fall is. It's absolutely insane. Millions of tourists descend upon your little town and cosplay and run around and go to tourist traps. And been there. I've been there, not during Halloween, but I've been there. And yeah, I went to the witch stuff, and yeah, it's fun.
It's cool. It seems like the tourists that come for like the weirdo stuff, it seems like the tourist season gets longer and longer every year. It attracts a lot of cool people and it attracts a lot of not so cool people. You know, it's a mixed bag. You know, obviously there's like a big like pagan and Wiccan community here. It's very LGBTQ friendly. But it attracts like totally run-of-the-mill kind of tourists too, which can be good or bad. Winter here, there's still a lot of people coming to check out the tourist stuff. And the winters in New England can be rough, but they're really mild compared to what I grew up with in upstate New York. Like I was reading about Oswego, New York, which is, I still think this the most snowfall in any town in the US. Like they got hit with a snow, like a lake effect storm where snowplows got stuck and people were like trapped in cars and stuff, I guess, like past week or so. So like New England winters, I'm just kind of like, couple of inches, it's fine. You know, it's not that big of a deal.
Right.
But it's good to be back. I actually kind of missed winters being in North Carolina for a few years, believe it or not. So
I don't mind winter. Of course, I'm, you know, northern Michigan, so I quite a candid view forever. I was a kid during the winter of 78, which was like an immense amount of snow. Snowed in at my grandmother's house. Crazy. There's still crap about that on the news every once in a while. Pops up the winter of 78.
Yeah, I've heard. I had a winter of 78 beer over Christmas, so it's still something that people talk about apparently.
Oh yeah, snow up past the doors. It was craziness. I was just a little kid, but I remember being kind of trapped at my grandmother's with people
The
she
year I
worked
was
with. They
born.
couldn't make it home. Yeah. Yep. Well, right on. Well, the weather is definitely apt for what we're going to be talking about today. What's your first pick for winter time spins?
Oh, let me see. So yeah, I'll just grab this right on top. And I'm already screwing myself because I'm all these kind of Nordic language pronunciations. I'm not good at this. And my name is not Brain Smasher. But I've been in the mood for and delving into like very wintry, icy black metal stuff. And I'm definitely a layperson when it comes to most black metal. I have my tastes, and most of it's outside of this kind of shit. Like I like the South American stuff and the Greek stuff a lot. Of course, I like the heavy hitters from Norway and Sweden and everything. But I texted my friend Matt, who's like my oldest friend in metal, and I was like, recommend me some really like icy, cold black metal. And he's like, dude, Arcanum. So I got this.
I pulled this one.
Oh, he did. Okay, I'm on my phone, so I can barely see anything. But
friend Martyr,
however this is supposed to be pronounced, Costagogger or whatever. Costco. But I mean,
Costco Dodger. Yeah,
Costco Dodger. Right. But no, I mean, this is legit incredible black metal. It's super intense. It's got that sort of shamanic, like chanty thing going on with it, which is really cool.
Yeah.
It's one of those bands where I'm like, no, I want to buy everything, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to be better this year. I'm going to sit down and absorb this and listen to it a bunch. But it's incredibly well written and technically adept. I mean, it's all like it's a one-man thing, right? It's one guy, as far as I know. Am I wrong?
Yeah. Shamati.
Yeah, and he was in Grotesque too. Is that right?
One time he was a drummer at some point.
Okay, yeah.
He's a very good drummer.
Yeah, incredible, like cold fucking black metal from Sweden. Well, a lot of melodic and like kind of spiritual elements and stuff. It's great. Love it. So that's my first pick. Been spinning that a lot.
All right. Good one. Good start.
Mhm.
You got the assignment. Alan.
All right, I'm going to follow off of Nayucho's comment here. Yeah, At the Heart of Winter seemed like a very apt one.
Oh yeah.
But there is a different Immortal album that I tend to gravitate towards. And I will preface this whole thing by saying I don't have a real strong seasonal winter list of albums. I very much have more of a spring and summer list, but there are definitely albums I associate with winter. And so they're more likely to get played. The Immortal one for me is Pure Holocaust. And
Nice.
I think it's just the fact, this one, it's, very fast, very icy. It has that frosty grimness that Pat was just talking about, but just at 1,000 miles per hour. This is before they got into, the more riff-tastic, kind of, beefier, crazier sounding stuff on the next two albums. And then, really, into, some of the, great riffing stuff on At the Heart of Winter. This for me is just, kind of the definitive, really fast, got that, kind of very thin production sound, but still surprisingly melodic black metal. Love this album to death. It was an early favorite when I started getting into Norwegian black metal. And so, just everything, from the band photos, the black and white, everything about this one has always just kind of screamed winter time listening for me. So, I'd go with Pure Holocaust as my first choice for the evening.
Good pick.
All right. Well, for me, going through picking stuff, I'm like, wow, they're going to be seeing a lot of stuff that I've shown 10,000 times throughout the 4 years we've done this. So buckle up. A lot of redundancy coming here, but I try to pick a few extras that maybe haven't been shown too often, but I found that this discussion would have been a lot easier for the fall. There's a lot of albums that really resonate a bit more for me for the fall, but once I started thinking about it, winter, it's like the first month of winter is where I start to really, black metal is a big one, of course. And we're going to start with a comp, the first Blackened compilation, Black Metal Compilation Volume 1. This is a 2 CD set, came out on the Blackened label, which this thing, it's got all the heavy hitters from the time, of course, in my eyes, in this light red text on black. Emperor, Impaled Nazarene, Mayhem, Satyricon, Throne of Oz, Marduk. I mean, it's all the heavy hitters from the mid 90s. So, and I think there's even some Greek stuff on here as well, if memory serves. They end it with Have a Hedge, which is interesting. I don't remember that, but Unanimated's on here, Moonspell's on here. So, I mean, there's a mix, and they really kind of nailed the vibe, and there's just a windswept vibe to all of this stuff, which you're going to see probably a lot more of in my pile as we go. But this comp is a nice, it puts a nice bow on the whole thing right here. And this is a fun one to throw in the vehicle and drive around with. Thumbs up. Let's start with the comp.
Yeah, that's a cool comp. It was a good one.
It's the best of the bunch too, I think.
Volume 2 is extremely good too.
It is.
After that,
yeah.
I'm iffy, but Volume 1 and Volume 2 are really good for. That was around the time where I was digging a lot more into black metal, and both of those comps they're kind of that next tier besides the really, really obvious stuff to start finding some bands on. I was a little late to Norwegian black metal. It just didn't pop up in my corner of the Midwest really early, but those comps were very helpful in terms of like, oh, what does Abigor sound like? Oh, what does Naglfar sound like? Things that you weren't necessarily finding easily, but you'd seen the name here and there in zines by then.
Yeah, I remember that Abigor track being. Was it "Scars in the Landscape of God"? Was that the?
It is. That's exactly
right.
Bonus.
Yeah, that's such a good song. Holy shit!
Oh, I love that song. Yeah, that was one of the first things I had to go track down after I heard it.
All right, Patrick.
All right, just to keep things varied, as I'm known to do, apparently. Sisters of Mercy, Floodland.
I've been listening to that album last week, and the Sisterhood Gift, the Sisterhood Gift CD. Finally got.
That's
copy
good.
Of that rules.
Yeah, that's a cool record. But I mean, Dominion, Mother Russia, Driven Like the Snow. Anybody?
Yep.
But I mean, great gothic rock. Sort of.
It is.
It's got its dancey elements and pianos and stuff like that, but it's also very, chilly and aesthetically, and it's awesome. It's a classic. It's not my favorite. I think I talked about that. My favorite's First, Last, and Always, but I like all their stuff, including Vision Thing.
First,
Yeah,
Last, and Always
agreed.
is very jangly, and that one there is just more pure. They leaned into the gothic side. And is there a better production out there? I mean, that thing, you turn it up, it just shimmers. It's like full and clear and crisp. It's just great. What were you going to say, Alan? I didn't mean to cut you off.
Because the lineup on First, Last, and Always is like everybody that left to start the mission.
The mission,
and
Wayne Garcia and company.
And I think Patricia Morrison is the bass player on this, the goth queen there. But a great record.
What were you going to say, Alan, before I cut you off? Sorry.
Oh, I was just going to ask Pat, is the song Walk Away on that one, or is that on First and Last?
First, Last,
That's First, Last, and Always.
Okay. I was listening to the Paradise Lost cover of that yesterday, and I could not remember which album it was from.
Yeah.
And I forgot to look it up. So thank you. That solves one little question bouncing around in my brain.
Best song on that album, too. I love that song.
Yeah, it's a good song. And Paradise Lost did a nice cover of it. I hadn't heard it before.
I need to hear that. What is that on?
It was a bonus track on one of the 90s albums.
Okay.
I'll say Icon or Draconian Times. I'll check it in a second and let you know.
I have the Draconian Times I have, so it must have been a reissue with the
it wasn't. It's not on the CDs I had, so it must have been some reissue bonus track. But I'll dig it up here in a minute and find out.
I better write this down because I kind of want to hear it too. PL
like that In Flames cover of Blasphemous Rumors by Depeche Mode.
Yeah,
there's a universe where that would work, but I don't think it's the universe I live in.
No, it's not this timeline.
Who would have thought that band like Carpathian Forest could cover a forest so perfectly?
I was just listening to that the other day too. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they did a great job with that. I almost picked that CD to talk about, but I didn't.
Oh yeah, that would Black Shining Leather would be a good one for this.
All right,
what's on Aaron? Oh, we were talking about Walk Away by Sisters of Mercy and different covers of that. But let's see what's next on my stack. We'll go with this one. Sabotage, Dead Winter Dead. A little bit on the nose. This one, I have a memory of this associated with winter that doesn't seem to line up with what's published online. I remember getting this CD in like winter of 95, 96, but Metal Archives lists its release date as September 22nd. Now, granted, it snowed almost all the time when I lived in the Midwest, but I'm pretty sure we never had snow in September. I think October 12th was the earliest we got snow. So I'm not sure what's up with that. I'm not sure if the date on Metal Archives is wrong or just my memory is incorrect, and I did get this in the fall instead of the winter. Regardless, it's obviously got a winter theme to it. For those who don't know, by chance, this is the album where the whole Christmas Eve Sarajevo, aka the Carol of the Bells, first appeared. And then a couple of years later, they're like, that song might work for normal people if we took the Sabotage logo off and called it something a little more appealing. And 30 years later, you still hear it every single Christmas. Thank you, Trans-Siberian Orchestra, which is fine. I've got no problem with that. But yeah, Dead Winter Dead, it's their last really strong concept album talking about, the whole Bosnia and Herzegovina and genocide and such. So heavy material, handled very well. It's the Zach era of Sabotage. So it's not for everybody. If you only dig the 80s stuff, that's quite okay. But I still do like the album. It's held up pretty well over the years. It's, again, not their best, rock opera, but it is a good one. After that one, I feel like they ran out of ideas. And the album or two after that are a pretty hit or miss and more on the miss side. But Dead Winter Dead still works pretty good for me. And yeah, and say one of the other questions in my brain right now is, did I really buy that on September 22nd? Because I got it the day it came out. But I would have sworn I trudged to the record store with snow and ice all over the place. So facts aren't lining up, and it bothers me. But that's my problem. Let me look up this Paradise Lost thing real quick for y'all while Marty shows his next one.
It's kind of funny that the Trans-Siberian Orchestra thing worked because Sabotage wasn't that far off the mark. I mean, you said, they made music for normal people. Well, the Sabotage went on, their music was a little bit more for normal people too. They got real meatloafy, rock opera type thing, and it just
Yep.
it seems like they would have appealed. But all you gotta do is sing about Christmas and stuff, and it's like people are like, "Oh, bring grandma," you know.
Yep. And get the but yeah, really, yeah, something like the Streets album, if they had just a more generic Backstreet Boy kind of Backstreet Lads kind of tag on it or something, maybe that album would have crossed over and had mainstream appeal. Sometimes the name, the logo, the section it's filed in with metal, it does limit the appeal. But I think you're right, Marty. Yeah, some of the 90s Sabotage stuff could have had a wider appeal, maybe if not for the metal underpinning to it. I forget who it was. I read something or heard something recently where somebody had said that and it was a musician. He's like, yeah, once you get that metal, he's like, doing metal is like doing porn. Once you do it, you're always stuck at, that's what you will be known for, no matter how long ago it was. Right? No matter what you do afterwards, they'll still remember, like, hey, weren't you in that metal band? Hey, weren't you in that movie with the three Taiwanese girls, and the duck and the rubber hose? So, yeah, Sabotage probably just needed the name change to get the Christmas song over the top.
Absolutely. All right, well, here we go. Probably my only non-black metal-ish pick in the pile, and people roll their eyes. But man, this is, well, I'll show it. Orden Ogen to the End. I love this stupid record. This thing, we covered it on the album club. It is power metal at its core, but it's also Swedish melodic death metal. There's a lot of really powerful melody lines on here. This album mixed with power metal hooks, it is so freaking catchy. Oh my God. And the whole concept is about this land of ice type thing. And so catchy, so sing-alongable, if that is a term, sing-alongable. Yeah, I like it. We'll stick with it.
We'll accept it tonight.
Yeah, sure. Sing-alongable. Heavy. I mean, there's headbanging moments. There's some quicker, more upbeat paced songs. Again, it feels like the mid-90s in Gothenburg at times here. So, but with a power metal sheen, you got, your character here wearing the top hat, and it looks like a power metal CD, and it hits like a power metal CD, but there's heaviness to it too. So this might be one of those albums that straddles the line, but it's got a very, again, windswept, snowy, and cold atmosphere to it. I just love this record. It's their best in their catalog, and they put out some good records. But this is my favorite, probably because it's the first one. I don't know, because they haven't really done anything too dissimilar from this. But this one, all the songs are just perfect, in my opinion. So, yep, for power metal wintertime, that had to come on the show tonight because it fits the mood, it fits the mold, and it kind of borrows from a couple different genres to arrive at something very memorable. So
Wade wants to know if that really was a snowman on the cover or if he was seeing things.
Oh, you're seeing things. It's their mascot.
It's
okay. The top hat kind of, for a second.
I was going to say it's the keyboardist for Dimmu Borgir's modeling career taken off.
All right.
It also looks a bit like the Scarecrow from the Avantasia mascot.
It's probably the same artist that drew all that shit. Probably.
Could be, yeah. Oh, and I found the Paradise Lost Walkaway cover. It was originally a B-side on one of the singles from the Draconian Times era. So it's a bonus track on some version of Draconian Times I was hearing online.
All right. I will hunt it down afterwards. I'm super curious. All right, Pat.
All right. I'm going to go for the lowest hanging fruit possible. Winter. Into Darkness. I talked about this not that long ago. It is one of my favorite records.
If Sleep was a Crust band.
Yeah, I mean, it's an
Sleep was a good band.
Oh, I love Sleep. Anyways, I mean, Winter. It's a cool cross section of different stuff going on. Like they were Long Island dudes. I think they were into Crust and the punk scene, but they played with early death metal stuff. I think they were tight with Sorrow. That was like another doom metal or death doom kind of band from Long Island. It's almost like you can hear the Amoebics influence, but it's still like this early embryonic version of death doom, and it is super oppressive and just suffocating sounding. It feels very it's like being trapped inside during a blizzard or something. It's very appropriate for that. Like I said in whatever update where I talked about this, like I didn't get this at first. It was because it's so bare bones. But like
very stripped down and barren. Yeah.
But that started to become part of the appeal of it over the years of listening to it over and over again. But yeah, you can definitely hear the Amorphis influence, I think, and kind of like a Crust thing going on, but it's also very death metal too. Great record.
Oh yeah,
it is.
Love that one.
Yep. Alan.
All right, we'll just keep working my stacks in no particular order, so it's going to be a bit all over the place. Sanctuaries, Into the Mirror Black. This one for me, I think it's the cover as much as anything. It very much looks like a winter time scene. All the trees, completely dead, no leaves. You got the black and white thing. The guy kind of wrapping his coat around him more tightly. Yeah, everything about this just kind of says cold and dark, aka winter. So yeah. Fantastic album, of course. I know a lot of people prefer the debut album, which is also great, but this for me is a monster of an album. While the first album has like 2 or 3 big standout songs and the rest are fine, everything on this album just is seething. For me, this is Warrell Dane's best vocal performance. I think he sounds absolutely immaculate throughout this album. So, and it was kind of a blind buy for me. I think I did have the first album, so I did know something about them, but I had never heard any of the tracks from this one. Found it at the record store one day. Picked it up as a long box CD. And that tells you how long ago it was that I got it. I may still have the long box for this. I have a few of the long boxes tucked away. But yeah, for Sanctuary, hard to go wrong with Into the Mirror Black. Just a very dark, creepy power metal album. Fantastic stuff. Would love to have seen what the band could have done on a follow-up album at the time if they had stuck together. Instead, we got Nevermore, and that happened. I'll be nice and just stop there. Nevermore's okay, but they were never my band. Sanctuary was my band.
Didn't know that. Gotcha.
Yep.
All right. Well, this one is a Russian band. They put out a handful of CDs. They just kind of came back here in the last year or so, put out a new record, which is quite good. This is Old Waynes with Where the Snows Are Never Gone. There is just a cold croak, especially this vocalist. He sounds like in the the Game of Thrones, the Wildlings, the area where those frost demon guys, I can't remember their name right now because my brain isn't working properly.
White Walkers.
Yeah, the White Walker. His voice.
I was going to guess Youngstown, but I think Pat got it.
They have the way the White Walkers look is how this guy's voice sounds. It's just this unholy croak about it, and the music is cold, just churning, unrelenting. They get a little bit more dynamics as they went on, and the guy's voice changed a bit, but this early on stuff like this in the demo, wow, just really cold, barren. You just look out upon a frosty plain and that's all you see is just lifeless, cold, and frozen. It's kind of the way this black metal represents. Very good stuff. Not a lot of people talk about this band on there. Maybe there's a reason. Maybe they're of the sketch variety. I don't know. I hope not, because I just showed it. But anyway, the early stuff rules. Really good stuff. Patrick.
All right. I revisited this just for this update because I was like, man, I remember that being really good and listening to it a bunch. Probably the first couple of years I was making videos and a lot of people talked about this band then. Ellersith from Canada. They did, this is a compilation of almost all their stuff. I think they have one record outside of this. But they had a whole concept, almost full-length album, longish EP about the Dyatlov Pass incident in Russia.
Oh, yeah,
where these hikers went missing, and it's kind of mysterious because some of them it was hypothermia, but some appeared to be beaten to death, and it was a whole thing. But this is
dismembered weirdly and shit too.
Yep,
there was some weird.
Yeah, I was just reading up on it.
Yeah, a bit mangled.
Yeah, I was just reading up on it because I was like, was it like a rabid kind of? Did they end up eating each other? I just assumed that. I was like, I don't know.
They wondered if some of them had attacked each other, but no, there were no signs of cannibalism or anything like that.
Right.
Yeah. Well, let me go grab something while you talk about it, Pat.
But beyond all that, all this is like, it's really cool. It's weird. It goes for that kind of like discordant sort of death metal stuff. Like, I don't know, sort of in the realm of Portal a little bit, but it's way more kind of straightforward. And there's elements of it that definitely remind me of, that have like black metal elements, especially with the style of blasting they do and things like that. But it's weirdly pretty catchy in its own way. It's really cool, like a little bit on the noisy, weird side kind of death metal stuff. That's really well written and well played from Canada. And they had a whole EP about the Dyatlov Pass incident. So I enjoyed that. I just spun it on the way home. I'm like, yeah, this is kind of wintry. Let's check this out.
Weren't the conspiracy theorists trying to attach Bigfoot to this whole thing? Like,
UFOs and Yetis have both been attached.
Yeah, something about ball lightning, and UFOs and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, there's a whole kind of weird stuff going on with it.
Yeah.
It's a lot more romantic to say that than they got cold and ate each other.
That's more of a Donner Party thing. Donner Party copyrighted that stuff. Give me just a second here. But what Pat, if folks aren't familiar with it, what Pat's talking about is this kind of unexplained mystery thing from 1950s era Russia. Dyatlov
59.
Pass. Yeah, it's basically a group of like college age, individuals were doing this big outdoor nature hike, which was a pretty common recreational thing to do in Russia around that time frame. And they went missing. When they were eventually tracked down, they found their campsite, and there were a lot of mysterious things, including traces of radiation, corpses in weird, like with very weird internal injuries, but no external injuries. So there was a lot of different speculation. Like Marty said, the conspiracy theorists have come out with lots of ideas, just different pictures from before they were all killed. It was, it's interesting. I've heard about it years ago. It's been touched on by a few different bands, some black metal bands in particular over the years. A few years ago, scientists came up with actually what's considered a really strong possible explanation. It's a geology thing. So it kind of crossed my desk one day. I'm like, oh, holy crap. The current thinking is what happened was they had gone out of their way and were camping on one of the lower slopes of this mountain. And they kind of basically, it sounds like, cut out like a little area into this, kind of cut like back into the slope just a little bit to have like a flat place and a little bit of shelter from the wind for their camp. The problem is when you do that on a slope, you can get a weird kind of landslide that'll happen where if there are cracks in the ice and snow, you can have like an entire block can kind of shift and then slump down. And so they're thinking now what happened is that during the night, while they were in their tent, they had just enough, disturbance on the slope that, one of these, the chunk of ice directly above them on the slope basically kind of slid down and then plopped straight down and basically crushed them. And it's very consistent with the kind of injuries that a lot of the people had, where again, lots of, internal, broken bones, damaged organs, but no damage on like the exterior. It also explains like a lot of things around the campsite that they found in terms of how the tent was crushed in a certain way and things like that. So it may have just simply been that, they picked a really bad spot to camp, and the way they sort of made camp for the night set them up for one of these unusual types of snow landslides that essentially crushed several of them to death. And the ones that survived, they had no chance. They're in the middle of nowhere in the winter in Russia with no supplies. All their stuff just got buried, and most of their colleagues are seriously injured or dead. You're not going to last very long. Some of them managed to escape for like a mile or two, maybe from the site of the accident. All the bodies were found, but nobody was walking away from that for very long.
So basically what you're saying is it was Bigfoot.
Somehow I knew you were going to circle right back to that one. But yeah, this particular book on it does a really good job of sort of summarizing the history of the event, a lot of the kind of day-to-day stuff that happened leading up to it. But the last chapter or two really does go off on the UFO tangent. This one's just like Yetis. Nobody believes in Yetis. It was aliens. It's like, your book was so good up until that point, and now you're just now you're just out there with the flying saucer people. Oh well. But yeah, if folks are into those kind of unsolved mystery type things, it is a pretty cool one and a lesser known one, so it hasn't been talked to death. But yeah, there was that recent development in terms of folks looking at it from more of a scientific geologic standpoint, and seems like it really does fit a lot of the evidence for what happened there. So hey, you tuned in for heavy metal albums and you found out scientific explanations for weird unsolved mysteries. That's why I'm here.
Bigfoot. Yep.
Welcome.
Sorry to go off on that side, but yeah, it's always been kind of a cool side one I've been interested in. Is it my turn to talk about an album?
Yes, sir.
All
Yes,
right,
it
let's
is.
talk about an album. Folks, we're talking about Agalok in the chat, and yes, absolutely. For me, it's the mantle for winter, and I think it's just because this is an album I often end up playing on my commute, but I do tend to play it this time of year. Around here, the weather tends to be pretty gray, like the album cover. Everything, nothing on the trees. It's dark in the morning when I go to work. It's often dark in the evening when I go home from work. So yeah, this album's, the mood of it just fits the weather for this time of year. It doesn't hurt that it's an amazingly good album. I'm always surprised a little bit how well this has held up over time, because it's not something I play constantly. But when it gets into rotation, I'm still really enchanted with the mantle. Sounds fantastic. It's one of those albums I get, to work and I'm like, crap. Now I wish I could just keep driving because then I could play the album again. It's definitely the one I associate with this time of year. The Mantle by Agalok. That's a winter commuting album in particular for me.
All right. Good one. And what better band from a country to represent winter than a band from Finland, right? Well, where their A Muck album is a fall album for me, North From Here is very much so a winter album. This thing, I don't know that I quite got it when it came out. I think I was hoping for more just, knuckle dragon death metal, but this thing over the years, what an album. The riff work, the melodies on here are just something else, just so good. Jarva's voice is unique. This is before he started to go down the Carl McCoy route. He had an interesting, he straddled the line between death and black metal vocally. He just had a kind of a mid-range snarl to him, which you could understand. He had a very good enunciation, and this is just a very special record. It's a band that we've talked about a bunch on here. The fact that their first 4 albums sound like completely different bands, but each one of those instances are all very good in their own respective lane. And this is, they evolved out of just the straight up death metal, and they got a little bit thrashier, a little bit more black metal, a little bit more melodically charged on here. And there's an atmosphere. There's just an atmosphere that a band that spends a good part of their winter wandering around in the dark. This is definitely an album worthy of wintertime jamming for sure. All right.
Hell yeah.
Patrick.
Yeah, that is a great one. All that stuff that's kind of straddling between mellow death and black metal, unanimated.
Yep.
Sentenced, some dissection, of course, some Sentinex stuff.
Sacramentum.
I'm not sure if I'm even going to talk about this, but I have it in the pile. This very first In Flames record, full length Lunar Strain. All that stuff is awesome. I grabbed these because I used to have them. There was a 2-on-1 cassette that I had, and I kind of think of them as the same album. It's the first 2 Killing Joke records, the self-titled and What's This For? And you think about just this Killing Joke sound, post-punk, whatever the hell that's supposed to be, this very rhythmic, desperate, like kind of apocalyptic, tribal sounding stuff that they've got going on, and just how much stuff they influenced. Like if you listen to a lot of the artier kind of anarcho punk from the early 80s in Britain, if you listen to early industrial, I mean Metallica covered them, you know. And there's something just so like sparse and minimalist and cold to me about those first two records, that and they did brilliant stuff like pretty much their whole career. I don't really think they have anything bad. But man, those first two are just iconic to me.
All right. Good picks. Alan.
So Pat, before you pan away from Pat, I'm glad you brought that up. Question: what would you recommend for someone in the Killing Joke catalog who knows only Brighter Than 1,000 Suns? That is the only Killing Joke album I've ever owned, and I liked it, but I also know they're a band that's changed styles a lot, so I have no idea where to ever start with that band's discography.
The thing is like I can't. The first time I heard Brighter Than 1,000 Suns, I was like, this is closer to like some Dead Can Dance stuff that I've heard than any Killing Joke record that I've heard.
I understand that. Yeah, that one's kind of weird in their catalog.
It
which
is
makes me
weird.
like, I don't know where. That makes it even harder for me to know what to try next.
Maybe Pandemonium. I don't know. I mean, I'm not even like a deep like. I worship those first two records. I like Brighter Than 1,000 Suns a lot. And then a lot of stuff like from later on in the 80s, I don't even really know that well. Yeah, I mean, at least try Pandemonium out and see what you think.
Let's write that
so,
one down.
Yeah, I mean, that's the other one that I'm most familiar with. I've listened to some of their other records. I know Jeff is Gas Masks and Hand Grenades is a really big Killing Joke head. He might be able to point you in a pretty good direction.
Yeah, I still got to work through the rest of his church deep dive videos.
I think he's got one more episode to go on that. I think he said coming up.
He's done 3 parts so far. I haven't gotten to the end of part 3, so I don't know if there's a part 4 coming or not.
All right, you are up.
All right, let's see what's next. Someone just mentioned Vital Remains. This isn't Vital Remains, but it does have a lot of green and black on the cover, so it kind of reminded me of it. This is Night Demon's Outsider album. Just came out a few years ago. I associate this one with winter because it came out in winter. It was one of the first releases of, I want to say 2022. January release. Really, really good album. If folks aren't familiar with this band, it's Jarvis, who helped jumpstart Keira Thungel's career. He plays bass with them, but this is kind of his baby with Night Demon. Really good, high energy, solid heavy metal. There's nothing fancy, no frills to it, but really fun, energetic stuff. This is their 3rd album, I believe, and it's a little bit of a concept album. Although, to be honest, if you didn't sit down and read about the story, I don't think you would really pick it up just listening to the tracks. And that's okay. It means the tracks are enjoyable by themselves. You don't need to understand what is going on to enjoy the album. But yeah, outside a really good album by the band, it feels like they're overdue for a new one. So I'm kind of hoping for a new Night Demon here in 2026. But yes, if you've just never got around to checking them out and you like that straightforward, energetic stuff, maybe think something like, High Spirits, but more metal than that project. I was late to checking out this band. Folks had recommended them, and I just kind of never got around to it. But yeah, really good stuff. There's a really good live album. It's a 2 CD set that's not too hard to find, and it's one of those things that tends to show up like in discount and sale lists on different distros. If you're unfamiliar with the band, that's a really good introduction to stuff from their earlier catalog before Outsider came out. But yep, since it was a January release a few years ago that I reviewed for Metallurgy, that album, has a strong winter connection for me.
Right on. All right. Well, going to Norway again, if I haven't already. Revisiting there a bunch tonight. Shadow Throne by Satyricon. This is the one, man. This is, I love the debut is great. I really love Nemesis Divina. What an absolute, that's to me their apex. This is the black metal album that was completely in line with what was happening in Norway at the time. Very woodsy dominant atmosphere. And there is a cold blusteriness to it as well. It's just a very chilling, good, but atmospheric record. Always fit really well in the snow with the full moon. Yeah, always a perfect combination, perfect companion to those late night walks down the road with the moon shining, lighting your way. So I always like this. They kind of trim back the medieval side like they had on Dark Medieval Times, and they just went for the foresty atmosphere. And again, it just has that cold sensation to it. Love this album, and it's one that people just don't talk about that much. It got a reissue here a few years ago. Awesome, but they changed the cover, which I get it.
Yeah.
The cover sucks. I mean, it's just so nondescript. You can't.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just blue and black, and it's not a good choice. But anyway, yeah, Shadow Throne, love it. Absolute classic.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird
First
because
three.
the albums all have good covers, or at least real covers. When you're right, that one's just kind of color.
Yeah.
Wasn't
Say,
it?
Pat?
Wasn't it? The first three are great. But it was Shadow Throne and Dark Medieval Times when they reissued them. They changed the cover on both of them, didn't they?
Did they?
Yep.
Yeah, they
sure
did.
did.
They
Yep.
did that Peston cover with the owl flying, the
Yeah.
the Kittleson piece. Yeah. Yep. The Helford Christmas. Yeah. Go walking in the winter wonderland with Helford.
I made a Christmas mix for work of like, let's see, my coworkers should be able to tolerate this, and I definitely put like the Helford Christmas stuff on it, the Bad Religion Christmas album, like the Twisted Sister stuff. I'm like, sorry guys.
Here we go.
All right. Tales from a Thousand Lakes.
Oh, I got that
Amorphis.
too in that pile.
Uh-huh.
Let's get a little wild with the Moog. Let's go. Let's
Yep.
get into it. I love this record. You know,
Yeah.
I'm obviously picking this because of Black Winter Day and everything, but there's some almost kind of like really happy moments on this in a weird sort of way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, speaking of Finland and everything, it's I mean, this blew my mind the first time I heard it. Just hearing those crazy Moog keyboards and this almost like out there like proggy 70s thing going on with it. With
You
like
talk about
growled death
happiness,
metal.
the song The Castaway, that melody line.
Oh, yeah.
And then you got those abysmal dark vocals underneath it. It's like a weird juxtaposition. It's
Yeah, I love it. I think it's great. You know, it almost kind of like Farcaset or whatever by Satyricon, you know. But yeah, I mean, just one of my favorite death metal albums as a kid. One of those things that I got sick of listening to and came back to the past like 10 years or so. But it's pretty unique. And I'm trying to remember I just really gave the album after this another chance, and I'm brain farting on the title.
after it, Elegy.
Yeah, Elegy. I heard a little bit of Elegy and heard some clean vocals, and I was like, ugh. And then I actually sat down and listened to the whole thing, and especially because I've been appreciating a lot more prog stuff lately, I was like, this is pretty good. I'm enjoying this.
It's catchy, very catchy.
Yeah, but yeah, I definitely think of. I mean, you know, Black Winter Day, of course. You know.
All right. I don't know if I picked enough stuff. We're kind of ripping through here. I picked about 20. I thought, oh, that's plenty. But
I picked about 20. Don't worry, I'm sure we'll go off on some tangents. We've already been through 50s Russian recreational unsolved mysteries.
Bigfoot butchering. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like my favorite Screamo record.
Yetis versus
Is that a
UFOs.
combat wounded veteran 7-inch? Anyway.
Little Gray Men versus Communist Youth. Who knows where we'll end up tonight. But yeah, kind of on the same page as Pat, except I went with the actual Black Winter Day EP. I always liked this one a lot because it had some tracks that weren't on the album, but were still really good tracks. EPs, and especially I feel like sometimes 90s EPs, they tended to just throw some stuff together. It's like you get one new song, you get two songs that you already had on the album, and a live track, and a demo with dubious sound quality. It's just like, do I really need to spend money on this? But this EP is absolutely a good one because everything on here besides Black Winter Day is still good. Folk of the North, the part 1 and part 2, and always loved the cover image of this too. The birds
Yeah.
kind of framing the logo just perfectly, carrying the big Mjolnir hammer thing there with water. It just really works nicely for cover art for an EP and a good continuation of Tales. Like you, Pat. The first time I heard this, it's like, oh, this is really cool. Couldn't get enough of it. I think I had to blind buy the album though, because I don't remember any of the tracks from it being on a compilation I had, but I kept reading about it. The local store didn't have it, so I just had them special order it from Relapse, which they could get Relapse stuff in like a week. It wasn't hard.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I'm taking a chance on that because it just sounds too. It's got to be good with a title like that. It sounds dumb now, but back then you really did just go kind of on the vibes you got. It's like Amorphis, Tales from the Thousand Lakes. Absolutely, it's going to be a winner. That one panned out quite well. Others, not always.
not always. Yeah, I was lucky enough to having gotten into the Corellian Isthmus previous to that. I love that record, so I was primed and ready for what came after. And then I heard Elegy, and I was like, oh, that sucks. Never went back for like over 2 decades, and now I'm like, oh, that was actually really good.
Yeah, Elegy definitely throws you for a loop. I got it when it came out, and it's kind of like first listen, I'm just like, that's really different. But after a couple more plays, it sank in with me. Like, okay, this makes sense that they were going to go in this direction because there are signs all over Tales and Black Winter Day that they were going to move into more and more of that kind of material.
Yeah.
So once I kind of readjusted my ears a little bit, I'm like, okay, I think I can dig this. It probably helped that, let's see, Elegy came out right before I had to go on a big geologic surveying project for like 6 weeks in New Mexico and Colorado. And it was I bought the tape, I think literally the day before we left. So it was one of just a handful of tapes I threw in the car with my buddy. So we played it a lot over the next 6 weeks. We had plenty of time to get used to it. We were having to travel pretty light since it was a long trip, which is just like, one small box of cassette tapes with us. So it was like, it's whatever it is in this box, we're going to play the hell out of it for 6 weeks. And that gave us plenty of time for it to sink in.
You knew that things were going to start getting weird once they did a non-ironic cover of The Doors during that era. It's like, okay, we see what's happening here. Writing is definitely on the wall.
Yeah. Yeah. And Simon, I have actually never heard Tenolia all the way through because now that one, all the signs started pointing towards maybe they are drifting a little too far out of orbit for me to be interested in. And that album always seems to have a kind of mixed reception depending on who's hearing it. So can't comment on Tuanella. I left him alone. I've checked back in on Amorphis from time to time over the years. They never sound horrible, but nothing from the past 10 or 15 years holds my interest for very long either. I play it once or twice, and I promptly forget it even existed. That's just my experience with their more recent stuff.
Yeah. All right. Winter. It's my favorite Bathory album of all time, and it is Blood on Ice.
That's a good one.
This thing is old Quorthon nails the Viking thing. His singing is up to par. The story is good. The story could have been, shot in the Conan style, on actual film in the Conan universe. This tale would have been a cult classic movie, I think. But great concept album. And for being dug out of a closet in his archives, and I don't know if any of that shit you can believe. He was such an enigma. He lied about everything. I think he sat down. He may have had some scratch ideas in the closet and sat down and fleshed them out and made an incredible record. And this is right on par. The Nordland albums also could have been on this list for me. I love them as well. He ended on such a high point. I was so excited to hear what it was. Supposedly the next album was called The Vikings. I don't know. It's unfortunate it never got to see the light of day because he was on such a roll. But in this guy, he could screw it up real quick too. Let's look at like albums like Octagon or Destroyer of Worlds, which does have some good songs on it. But
I was curious about that one. I haven't.
It's a
dealt with
weird
them.
mix of songs.
Half of that, the first 4 songs are great. They're in the
Mhm.
Viking metal vibe, and then there's a song about hockey, and then
Oh
there's
yeah,
like,
that's
then he reverts back to this, Requiem thrash thing, which in hindsight, that Requiem album isn't bad. The thing that
Requiem's not
sucks,
bad at all.
yeah, the thing that sucks about it is that shitty fake drum sound. I mean, it
Yeah,
sounds
yeah.
like a trash can lid, the precursor to the Saint Anger album, trash
Yeah.
can drums. But this album is perfection. I love Hammerheart. I love Twilight of the Gods, but this trumps both of those as far as I'm concerned. And
Yeah.
it is just the perfect wintertime album. And if you don't love either the song, The Wood Woman, or The Lake, I don't know. We have a hard time being friends. I'm just going to put that out there. They're 2 of the best songs ever. The Lake in particular, what an epic, amazing masterpiece of a song. Holy shit. Goosebumps every time I hear it. So good. So good.
All right. I might
Aren't
as well
we,
bounce
aren't we all
off.
lucky Quorthon found those tapes in a closet from back before his,
Horse shit.
yeah. Yeah. That was the weirdest set of liner notes to read.
Yeah. Lies. Anyway.
I might as well pull these out to dovetail with what you're talking about and bounce off of you. Although my experience with these is nowhere near as long as yours, and I don't know if I have as much to say other than I like these a lot. They're finally clicking with me. The Nordland CDs.
Yeah.
I mean, I just got these. I've been listening to them, past couple of weeks.
Good. Yeah.
I will say this. This is deep nerdy shit. I just downloaded the remastered. I've been playing the remastered version of Skyrim and listening to these, and it makes perfect sense. Everything syncs up. It's like Pink Floyd and the Wizard of Oz.
All right. Okay.
Which is it's some real nerd shit.
That's some stoner technology happening there.
Yeah. Well, no comment there, but it is really nice having the experience. You're this Viking person like running around like these frozen landscapes, and I'm blasting this on my stereo. It makes perfect sense. But I do like how it's like, I don't know if I ever need to listen to Manowar again. Like this just takes.
He did admit that Manowar were a big influence on this era, which makes total sense.
I mean, yeah, but it's just like it takes everything good about Manowar. It's like I'm good with this now. Occasionally going up tempo is something that I appreciate too. But I mean, it's weird because the first Bathory thing I ever heard was Twilight of the Gods, because I read about him in Metal Maniacs and how they were this influential black metal band. And the only thing that was out that came out like that year was Twilight of the Gods. And I was like, what? Because
that's his worst vocal performance ever, really. He
and
hard. Yeah.
One thing I've noticed about these and the one that you showed is that he's finally starting to nail the more melodic like Viking vocals on this better than anything else, I think.
Yep.
And that's cool, But I like this version of Bathory for sure. Like I'm really enjoying it, but it took me a long ass time to come around it because I bought Blood on Ice like I think after I saw a video with you talking about it like quite a while ago now, and I was like, this is cool, but I don't know if it's for me, but I'm just gonna put it on the shelf and we'll see. And then lo and behold, I fired up Skyrim and I was like, okay, this is perfect. I need those other Viking records, and I bought these. So there you go.
Perfect. You should also get Hammerheart too. That would fit.
I have Hammerheart. It's good.
Yeah. Sweet. Well, good. I'm glad you finally come around on that tip because it is very worthwhile, emotional, and impactful, triumphant music. So good.
Absolutely.
Alan.
All right. Let's see. Next on the stack is, Seventh Wonders, the Great Escape album. I forget which one there is in their catalogs. They have a couple of early albums that don't get much attention, but then they got a new vocalist and kind of started to break through in progressive metal circles a bit. The album before this, Mercy Falls, is the one where they really started to get some traction. That one's a concept album that's very complicated to follow. It's not bad, but it's one where the story doesn't fully make sense and they don't quite get it integrated into the music in a easily digestible way. This one, though, is just individual songs. They're not tied together by anything, and I think that works in its benefit. the reason I think of this as a winter album is I ended up getting this during like late fall, early winter, around the time it came out, 2009, maybe 2010. And then we were already married at the time. So yeah, my wife and I, when we were traveling for the holidays that year, this was one of the main things that we were listening to an awful lot. So this album is associated with winter for me for that reason. Played it a ton, driving around to see relatives, had it on the iPod so that when relatives were being annoying, I could just go sit somewhere else in the house and kind of play this one over and over. It's a fantastic set of songs. For folks that aren't familiar with the band, I said progressive metal. That probably already made some people run away and unsubscribe. This is a band that does it really well, though. They're not trying to constantly just show off and do weird shit for the sake of it. I tend to think of Seventh Wonder as like Dream Theater if Dream Theater remembered to write songs, something they are very often guilty of kind of slipping their minds while they're writing in 3/18 time signature using some kind of random synthesizer setting that only 5 people on Earth can program. That's cool. What's the song called? Oh yeah, I guess we should write one. Whatever. Seventh Wonder, very catchy stuff, plenty of melodies and things that will stick with you, but there's a really high level of musicianship going on behind it as well. So yeah, this is probably their high watermark. The albums after this are still good, but the vocalists ended up doing double time with Camelot, the power metal band out of Florida. And so, it kind of, when you're doing 2 bands like that, and one of them's obviously more high profile, let's be honest, the second band is going to suffer a little bit. Seventh Wonder, the releases started spacing out a lot more. They were still good, but eventually, of course, things came to a head. He's now working only with Camelot. Don't know if Seventh Wonder is going to try to pick up another vocalist or if they're going to call it a day or, go in a different direction with a new project. But whatever they do, I wish them well. Talented bunch of guys, and they did make some very cool albums. Hopefully, if they can find another vocalist and move forward, that'd be great. We will see. But yeah, playing this so much during winter travels has always made Seventh Wonders The Great Escape one of my winter albums.
They should definitely pick up a cover artist. I'm just saying.
This one is very much harkens to, there's that right there starting in the early 2010s, while online music and downloads were getting more and more popular. I noticed more and more bands doing this kind of cover art where it's just like, make the name pretty easy to read and have like one object on a pretty plain background. It doesn't look good on a CD and it looks horrible on vinyl, but where it actually works? It works when you're looking at like a little tiny thumbnail avatar size thing on Bandcamp or your iTunes or whatever. Because you just kind of have to spot like, oh yeah, Black Widow Spider Blob. That's the album. Click that, and then you're hearing the album you want. It's not a good thing about cover art, but I have noticed a lot of bands have trended towards that. Just have one central object that's kind of easy to identify on the human eyeball, even when it's shrank down into like, tiny little pixel image on a smartphone. Sad but true. Right on. All right, Marty, over to you, sir.
Yeah, this one's so obvious. It just Bergtot over. Man, that massive drum roll at the beginning, and it just starts off in this warm organically, but still it feels like you're, again, forest metal, but the winter is coming. But I love the production of this thing. It's very organic, and warm wasn't the right thing I meant to say here. It's just a well-recorded, warm, organic production. Love this record, and that's why Kveldsanger was so disappointing when that came out. I've talked about that the last couple of weeks being such a disappointment, but this is such a high bar. Garm's clean voice was just as engaging as the Grimm vocals, but not only that, but the way they work together, perfect dynamic, and it really sold me on the atmosphere they were going for and the feeling behind it. A lot of emotion in this black metal, and again, it always seems to work really well when the first couple of weeks of winter. It just has that vibe. Something about the whole mid 90s era of the Norwegian scene just has that, I don't know what it is, that cold, evil, but culturally advanced and melodically advanced style of black metal. Great. Love it.
Yep. A
Super
classic.
good.
Yep. And yeah, some folks, Mendoza, I think in the chat's recommending that, yeah, next time we have to do this on hard mode where nobody gets to pick black metal.
Oh, dude, I would have
I
had
could do
2
it.
picks. I couldn't. I don't think maybe I could. I don't know.
That's why it's hard mode.
Yeah.
So I grabbed I could really probably pick like any Amebix record, but the really early stuff, No Sanctuary. This is a compilation of different recordings, the Spider Leg Records, which I believe was their imprint. Before they got way more metallic right after this, like the Arise record. I've described it, Arise that is, as sounding like Venom on cough syrup. Like it's kind of got that gallopy sort of thing, but it's it's weirdly punk in its own way. Definitely created a sound that a lot of people imitated and took from. Their very early stuff sounds like a heavier Killing Joke. Speaking of Killing Joke from earlier. So this is kind of along those lines. It's got that kind of odd circular kind of tribal drumming that Killing Joke has, and sort of almost kind of like proto-industrial kind of feel to it. Very bleak, very, very bleak. And there's a song on it called Winter that I believe Winter got their name from. So yeah, I mean, great. Moscow Madness, it's like a traditional like Russian number there. Yeah, very, very appropriate for winter for obvious reasons.
I have a friend that is friends, or once was, I guess, with the Baron, and I guess Manowar. He's admitted to Manowar and Merciful Fate being 2 big influences on Amebix, which
I can see that.
Interesting, especially the Manowar. I listened to Arise. I'm like, I don't know if I hear a lot of Manowar on this, but cool.
I remember reading an interview with the Baron where he didn't like deny being influenced by Venom, but he thought that
Venom
he
too,
thought they were he thought they were joking, and apparently he met Kronos at one point and was like, dude, you guys are hilarious, this is great what you do, and Kronos got really offended. Like, I don't know if that's true or not, but that's a pretty funny story.
That's hilarious.
You're breaking the fourth wall, dude.
He's like, it's like pro wrestling, right? Like that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Old Conrad wasn't serious about his Satanism. Come on, those
I mean,
lyrics
couldn't
are so
have been,
tongue-in-cheek.
like,
It was
I guess
the
you gotta
80s, the Satanic Panic, man. They did what the era needed at the time,
Yeah.
Awesome, Alan.
All right. Well, I'll follow up off my own Seventh Wonder pick with so the vocalist moved over and replaced Roy Khan in Camelot. This is Camelot's One Cold Winter's Night. It's a 2 CD live album. There's a DVD that goes with this that my wife has, and everything about this screams winter. The production they did on the stage and everything, it's all very wintry looking. The all the art direction and everything, has a very cold, kind of frosty tinge added to their, typical Camelot, has that kind of gothic aura and look to all their visual appeal. But it worked really well adding in the wintry mix for the live album. It's a really good live set. This is definitely kind of the end of the classic run of Camelot material. For folks that aren't familiar and not afraid to check out US power metal from the 90s and 2000s, the first 2 Camelot albums are really tough to love. Their vocalist at the time, he could sing, didn't have a lot of personality, though. It was kind of flat. On album number 3, they picked up Roy Khan from Norway's Conception, really great kind of progressive metal band from the earlier 90s. The third album is we're kind of getting comfortable with each other album, and then they really found their niche, building on this kind of gothic flavored power metal take, which worked incredibly well for multiple albums through the late 90s and all through the early and mid 2000s. And they eventually, of course, kind of started to run out of ideas. Khan eventually left the band. they've done well since with some albums. They still have a really good following. Their most recent album was fantastic.
I liked it. Yeah.
Yeah,
It got
no,
a little long, but I liked it.
The Awakening was maybe one song too long, but it was still good. So I mean, they still have fuel in the tank. But yeah,
Yep.
One Cold Winter's Night does kind of represent the cap to that run of albums that were almost untouchable. They really, for me, they were the power metal band of the like 2000 to 2009 period. They were doing better than Blind Guardian at the time, better than Halloween at the time, better than Stratovarius. This was the band that just couldn't miss for about 10 years there. So yeah, it's a nice document chronicling that period. I'm glad they've still managed to carry on and yeah, seem to still be putting out strong stuff. But the One Cold Winter's Night, just the sound, the production, the staging on the DVD for the live show, everything, yeah, screams winter. Worked quite well for this topic. So there you go. A little history on Camelot.
All right. Well, let's go to England. Jolly old England with Woden's Thrones Loss, their debut full-length album. I put this out back in the day, 100 years ago, and I gotta say, I still absolutely love this album. It is, to me, a high mark in the English black metal scene. I mean, I love this so much. I've never really dug into Winterfelleth that much because I don't care, because I don't think they're going to do it as good as this was. And I have heard some Winterfelleth. That's a broad statement. Or even bands like Sior. I'd like some of that stuff, but this to me was perfect. It just has the atmosphere, the song. It's like English Emperor. And as they went, they didn't go the route of Emperor, who got very proggy. Woden's Throne got a little bit more aggressive, maybe. But this is a good winter album for me. It just has that that vibe, that sense of, wonder, I guess, to it. The atmosphere is so good. The songwriting on here, the singing, the way the synth is integrated in the music, it feels like it's one. It feels like a living entity in the background. It's really weird, but I don't know how they nailed it so perfectly on their debut, but man, awesome, super awesome people, and they wrote an amazing couple of records before they disbanded. Now they're Nemeris and kicking ass still putting out amazing music. Yeah, but this Woden's Throne is great. It's really, really, really great.
Yeah. Carbon was asking, what do you think the odds are of a repress of the Woden's Throne? Because it's a bit hard to get, to my understanding.
We've talked to them about putting out Loss on vinyl again. And there's been yes. It might be this year. I don't know. There's some stuff. We'll see. It's, no one's really in a hurry to do it. But when we do it, it's going to be. And I have to make sure, too, there's no contractual stuff with Candlelight, because Candlelight scooped them up. And I remember doing some licensing agreement with them for the record, but I think it'll be fine. It is so long past the time of that contract anymore. And the Candlelight is no longer. So,
yeah. Still, yeah, better to check it.
Better, yeah, because I am in no financial position to take any sort of a hit legally. Be in a van down. I wouldn't even be able to afford the van down by the river. I'd just be down by the river foraging for crayfish or whatever, but panning for gold like all the people on YouTube. What I would be doing. But yeah. Pat.
Pup tent down by the river. This is I just put an order in at IWAS like last month, and this came out about 10 years ago. I read the description and didn't really think into who was playing in this, and I was like, oh, this rules for a whole bouquet of reasons. This is The Weight of Sunlight by Marsh Dweller.
Yes,
so Kerr. It's like it's like the dude from Nachachwin and Majesties, basically, and a bunch of other people. It's just awesome, great riffs, excellent like American black metal stuff. The riffs in particular, just, I mean, what you'd expect from the personnel that comprises this band. This is awesome. Yeah, I had no idea about this because I'm out of the loop with everything, but this is excellent.
Yeah, cool stuff. All right, Alan.
All right, I seem to have hit the power metal section of the CDs for tonight. The debut Iced Earth album. Not only, I mean, Iced Earth and a very cold, wintry kind of color scheme, but I got this album in winter after looking for it for several months. I first heard about Iced Earth on college radio station, and it was kind of hilarious. You know, they played this a couple of songs, and it was something from Storm Rider. I don't remember what track right off the top of my head, but heard it, instantly loved it. It's like, holy shit, I got to know what that is. But as is typical for radio stations, you know, they were playing like, 18 songs in a row. And by the time, the unpaid volunteer DJ at 2 a.m. on Saturday night comes back on, they remember like 5 of the songs they've played in the last half hour. So they didn't say what it was. So I called the radio station and talked to it. I was like, dude, what was the song you played about 30 minutes ago? You can imagine how well this went. Trying to explain which song it was. And he's like, but he did figure it out. He's like, okay, it's called Ice to Earth. I'm like, come again? And he's like, Ice to Earth. I'm like, one more time.
Not helping, bro.
Yeah. He was saying Ice to Earth, but the way he was saying it was ice to Earth. And so I'm like, this is as good as it's going to get. I was like, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I had recorded it on a TDK off the radio. And so on the J card, I wrote ice, the number 2, Earth. So that's the closest I could get from what he was saying on the phone.
That's my favorite New Jack Swing band.
It made it a little hard to find the CD. I'm like, I'm pretty sure it begins ice. I'll just have to keep looking through the I section everywhere until I get some more information. And finally, yeah, like 3 or 4 months later, it was like late December, early January, I was at a big record store in North Carolina, flipping through the eyes, and this is there. I'm just like, oh, that, yeah, that's what I'm looking for. So picked it up, and I've always really liked this album. Now, obviously, it wasn't the album that the songs I heard came from, but this one I think is quite good too. It's got Iced Earth on those first couple of albums has a really dark vibe to it that makes them stand out a bit from a lot of other US metal at the time. It's one part thrash, it's one part good power metal, not foo-foo power metal. The vocalist, has this kind of very sneering quality. They changed vocalists on all of their first 3 albums. Most people, of course, are going to gravitate towards Matt Barlow as the singer. And Barlow's great, but I really like the guys they had on the first 2 also. But yeah, this one, because I found it in winter, because it looks and sounds very wintry. It's, again, got that very just kind of dark, borderline evil. We're not talking like satanic evil, just kind of like, I don't want to mess with those guys kind of evil vibe. Yeah, the Iced Earth debut, good wintry album for me. Ice to Earth.
Ice to Earth. Yeah.
Ice
to Earth.
Ice to Earth.
Ice to Earth. Yep.
Too legit to Earth iced.
I was too enamored to quit on to Earth.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to stay in the Woden's Throne camp. And this first Ahem Care album we put out, The Embers of the Stars. When this came out, I remember driving down Slights Road in a frickin' blizzard, and this was cranking in my old Jeep, my little red Jeep Cherokee Sport. Man, it was just the perfect combination. That snow, the wipers going as fast as they can. You still can't see. It's a dirt road, so it's like the trees are just hanging, and this thing, the absolute perfect companion to that drive. And this is Michael Blencarn, who is he was in Woden's Throne, and he's also in Nemeris. But this is the debut with Stephen Black on vocals, who died suddenly shortly after redoing this album. So rest in peace, Steve. Absolutely sick vocals. Again, this is very much in the Emperor vein, that very layered. There's some good keyboard accompaniment on here. They did use fake drums on here, but it is mixed in such a way where it is not intrusive. It's just you're so easily to get immersed in the layers and the atmosphere of it and the epicness of it. Perfect wintertime music. I'll always remember that long stretch of dirt. It was a dirt road too. So it was like everything was lining up for perfect. And man, this was the perfect companion to that ride. And it just has always forever been a winter record for me at that point on, but great. They got a new album out this year we put out with Austin Lunn on drums and his wife Alex on keys, and it is still amazing. That album's all about processing grief from his friend Steve passing away. So it's an excellent project, and definitely check it out. Both albums are in the shop. Give them a spin, check them out, and be blown away as I have been over the years.
I love that one. I'll have to check out that new one. That sounds great.
Yeah. And you are up, sir.
All right. I just picked this up. I had this years ago. Jesus and Mary Chain, Psycho Candy.
That album sounds like it. They recorded that very loudly in the studio. It sounds like everything was on 10 when they were recording.
It's so wild because it's like elements of it are almost like 60s bubblegum pop, but with Kinda. Like Napalm Death scum distortion.
Yeah, very loud.
I guess it's, I don't know, I'm not very well versed in this stuff, but I guess it's like a big influence on shoegaze, the shoegaze genre, from what I've read. They were a Scottish band around all throughout the 80s, I think into the early 90s, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, it's just weird. It sounds like a band that's playing in a weird dream you had, where it's like, yeah, that sounded like really poppy, but then it sounded like the amps were like exploding at the same time.
Yep.
But it sounds also very dreamy and cold, which I like. This holds up for me because I had it years ago and didn't quite like really appreciate it, and I wasn't really into CDs at the time, so I flipped it. And I was at Newbury Comics, and I was like, yeah, let me buy that again. And I've been spinning it a lot. It's super catchy, but very like abrasive at the same time.
All right, good one.
I'm gonna go.
I did not expect to see that on the list, but very cool. Yeah.
It's winter to me. I'll be right back.
Yep, all good. Let's see. Well, got at least one more power metal one here to power through. Blind Guardians, Somewhere Far Beyond. This one I associate with winter because my buddy Matt and I kind of discovered this band during the winter in college. They were getting a lot of press in Sentinel Steel magazine, which was one of the few zines in the mid-90s published in the US that kept up with European power metal really closely. And this was the band that was getting a lot of talk write-ups in that magazine. So we're like, got to check that out. Everything they say makes it sound like the band for us. We were both heavily into like Halloween and things like that. And this, of course, was getting a lot of strong comparisons to classic Halloween. This being the mid-90s and we being in a small town in the Midwest, there was not much chance of it showing up locally. So we went down, same record store I trudged to get to the Savatage Dead Winter Dead CD I showed earlier, and talked to the guys like, I had no money to order anything at the time. So my buddy Matt was just like, can you order an album by this band called Blind Guardian Force? And the guy was looking through like some catalogs and stuff. He's like, okay, that one's going to be a little tricky, but I think I can get. He's like, which album do you want? And I remember Matt too was like, I don't even care. I'll buy whichever one you can get me. And the guy's like, okay, fair enough. I mean, he knew us. He knew we were good for it. It wasn't any problem there. It took him... It's been a long time ago. I'm going to realistically guess probably a solid 6 weeks. And Jim was extremely good at finding oddball things. I mean, it was an indie record store in a college town. So kids were coming in asking for weird stuff all the time.
He had the hookup. Yeah.
Yes, he had the hookups to, do imports and special orders. I ordered lots of weird German-only pressings from him, and he usually had them in 7 to 10 days. I'm going to guess it took him a solid 6 weeks to find a Blind Guardian CD and import it for Matt. And it was like right at the tail end or near the tail end of the semester by the time he found it. So yeah, he got the phone call one day. Yeah, we met at class. He's like, dude, Jim called. He's got the Blind Guardian. We're going to the store after class. I'm just like, yes, we are. Walked down to the record store. This was the one Jim had found. Matt bought it as an import. He took it home, immediately ran it off onto a TDK for me. So I had a copy to play too. And we proceeded to play nothing but that Blind Guardian album for the last few weeks of the semester. But yeah, basically this one is associated with winter for me because we sat there for most of the spring semester. And when you're going to college in Ohio, there is no spring semester, there is winter. Like I said earlier, it started snowing in October. And when you went to final exams in May, it was still snowing. There was 1 year that I lived there where there was an honest to God spring during the spring. The other 3 or 4 years, you still had on the boots, the coat, the hat, the scarf, the gloves, the 3 layers of thermals in late April and early May while you're trudging out to take your last tests. But yeah, we spent a good chunk of that winter waiting for this to arrive. And we were not disappointed. Fantastic album. We had no idea at the time, but it is, of course, a transitional album for the band. They're starting to move more and more in that symphonic direction on this album, leaving behind the pure German, power speed metal of the earlier stuff. There's a good mix of both on this album. But for some folks, it was, for folks who already were into the band, this one was a little, I guess, divisive is probably too strong a word, but there were some folks who weren't fully on board with them losing the speed and replacing it with this big orchestrated sound. We thought both halves of it sounded fantastic. And so we started rapidly trying to track down more stuff by Blind Guardian. I think the next one we got, the guy in Sentinel Steel finally was able to get some copies of a few CDs because he did a small import distro at the time and still does. You can actually find Sentinel Steel on Discogs to this day. But he got some copies of the debut album in. It was right at the tail end of the semester. So I called him in New Jersey and I ordered 2 copies. He's like, you want 2? I'm just like, yes, one's for me and one's for my buddy. He's like, okay, fair enough. So I had to have him send them to a different address because it was right at the end of the semester. We were moving out. So he sent them to me at a different address. When I got them, I had to send one of them up to Michigan where my friend Matt was staying at the time. So it took a little while, but Matt helped me get a copy of Somewhere Far Beyond by dubbing it for me. And I helped him get a copy of Battalions of Fear because Dennis had 2 and I bought them both. So that is my Blind Guardian winter story. And
funny.
Time for a story from Matt or from Marty.
Last night on Whatnot at 2 a.m.
Oh no, the Whatnot got you again,
dude. That fucking TJ, fuck me.
I am staying away from it because,
dude, do it. Don't go. Well, I got that CD. I got A Twist in the Myth, and I got Imaginations from the Other Side from the same guy for $3 a piece.
Can't go wrong.
And I got
2 of those are
Tales from the Twilight World for $8 from the same guy.
Still fair.
For Parker. And I also got Fear of the Dark for $5. So
Fear of the Dark's worth $5.
It's worth $5. And Parker's devouring Maiden and Blind Guardian like crazy. So I'm like, I'm trying to keep saying I'm done with Whatnot. And then I'm like sitting there, it's late at night. I'm listening to music. I'm like, I'll just see what's going on Whatnot. And I'm like, fuck.
You can't do that.
Yeah, here we go.
Yeah, no,
I don't know what that is, but it's probably bad for me, so I'm going to stay away.
Whatnot is eBay. It's eBay if you live streamed it.
It's live. It's like a live auction.
If we were sitting here, it's like, all right, next up we got a copy of Blind Guardian, Somewhere Far Beyond. Who wants to get? People can either bid or they can also just do buy it now prices, right, Marty?
Yeah, but it's mostly like they have set prices that they start them at. Like there's one guy, Hellborn Distro, he has like a $5 stack, an $8 stack, a $10 stack, and he's usually you just see their hands and they have all the stacks of CDs and tell me if you see anything in the stacks you want me to run, or he'll just go through them each at a time and okay, this one's $3, go, and then you swipe to okay, $3, you swipe on it, and then someone else can swipe on it too. So it's like a live auction type of thing, but
gotcha. Yeah,
I was on one before coming on the show, and there was like 35 people in there, and there was a lot of rare metal shit. And he started all the bids at $2. I'm like, oh man, I got Logan in there. I'm like, dude, I found a guy that's got tons of cool, like rare Temple of Knowledge by Cataclysm went for like $25. I'm like, fuck, because that's like the only one in the stack that I wanted. Because I had a promo of it and it went in the garbage, unfortunately. But yeah, I'm like, damn it. But yeah, it's evil. It combines the thrill of the hunt with being collector scum. You just don't know what's going to be next, you know.
It's like
Yeah.
eBay QVC. It sounds like.
Is it
Yes,
exactly?
that's a good way to put it.
Yeah. No, now that I think about it, because I'm big on watching videos for like the retro game scene and stuff. I think one YouTuber, John Riggs, that does video game shit, like sells stuff on there. I think that's the app he talks about, but it rang a bell faintly. But yeah, no, that's poison for me. I need to stay away from it. And I will.
No, dude, it's bad because it isn't just you could, if you want to get into video games, that's a whole nother version of whatnot. I'm just in the music section of it.
Oh, yeah.
I've got enough of everything. I'm good.
But it's like a month ago, I finally got a real copy of that Sisterhood CD, The Gift. I got a copy of that for $22, which is cheap. I got that Some Girls Wander by Mistake hard box with all the cards, the art cards in it for $20. And I got another Sisters of Mercy CD single in an oversized package. It's 3 songs off of the Floodland. And yeah, so I mean, it's like
Hey Marty, you know what we need to do some Friday night?
what?
Pat, are you and Marty familiar with the term potlatch?
I've heard of it, but I don't know what it
It's
means.
kind of a weird. My understanding is kind of like where two people make an agreement that is mutually self-destructive.
Sounds great.
And so what Marty and I should do is for a Friday night, I will download the app. Marty will fire up the app, and we will sit here for 3 hours on Whatnot and see how much random crap we end up with by the end of the night.
It'd be an entertaining watch.
If there's no metal sellers on, though, you're kind of at the mercy of who's on, you know.
Fair, yeah. It might, but yeah, that could be epically bad, or
because I mean, there's like a lot of just random people selling obviously $1 albums trying to get $30 out of them, or
like everywhere else.
I'm sure if we wanted to, we could probably coordinate with some metal. So I'd be like, hey, if you'll run this at 9:00 on a Friday night, we will live stream what's happening, and it could be a Metallurgy episode. I'm just saying.
you and I bidding against each other. You fucker! No, it's mine.
I think we'd be pretty good on divvying things up, but still, just be like, oh, here's one for you, Marty. God damn it.
John, you should download the app and look at it, because you would be surprised. I mean, there's I've gotten some deals, some crazy deals on there. Like I got that Kiss Destroyer 45th anniversary 2LP sealed for $20. The seller wasn't happy. He's like, oh wow, you stole that one. So I mean, sometimes you're giving shit away, sometimes you're making more. So it's you're kind of rolling the bones. But if shit's slow on eBay, try Whatnot. Even if you're selling shit for below what you want, at least you're moving product. You know what I mean? But
that seems to be the goal. Yeah. More so than just putting it on Discogs or eBay and waiting an indefinite period of time. You can, with Whatnot, turn stuff over relatively easily, it seems.
Yeah. Oh, hey, we got off track here. Whose turn is it? Alan's?
No, let's see. I just did Blind Guardian. You did you do something after Blind Guardian?
I go after Marty.
Yeah, so it's Pat's turn.
All right, here we go. Here we go. Control bleeding dudes.
Doing sort of metallic stuff. It's
sort
weird.
Of metal. Yeah.
I mean, the first time I heard this, it was the song "Sucked Inside" on At Death's Door 2, which definitely kind of an outlier track on there. It's very different. It is heavy, crushing stuff. Like it's like I don't know how you exactly would describe it. I mean, it's certainly like Swans-esque,
it's
heavy,
almost hard to listen to if you're not in the right mindset, because it is very grating. It's very
grating, unsettling, industrial, really abrasive everything, including vocals, including just overall sound. But just like sheet metal on sheet metal sounding stuff, but it's freezing sounding. So that's what made me.
Control Bleeding are very good at doing. I prefer Control Bleeding's more industrial stuff as opposed to their noise stuff. But that is a very interesting. And the album after it, Trial, They got they understood metal a little bit more, so they tried to make it a little bit more metal, but still that's hard to listen to as well. Very good.
Yeah.
Though. Anyway,
I have that too on CD, but yeah, this is a great, like, if you're not having a good time in winter, say you're struggling with a little seasonal affective disorder, and you're waiting for your Amazon delivery of your like sunlight lamp or whatever, and it's just not getting there. This will make everything worse. So enjoy.
Yeah. You take the chains off your tires and start grinding it on your hood of your car. Like, I hate you, winter.
Or wear them.
Or wear them. Yeah.
Or make them an accessory with your leather pants. Or no, there's not leather pants. Never mind. But he's wearing leather pants on the inside. Okay. We're not.
Yeah. You had to have a tetanus shot for that photo shoot. All right.
Seriously. Lockjaw.
And at let's see, 10:36, we entered the silly part of the night. All right, looks like I may be out of power metal for a while, so let's go in a different direction. Christian Death's Only Theater of Pain.
I have never heard that album. I don't know how it's evaded me over these years, but I have
Really?
never heard that record. Yeah,
That is a little surprising, given your
assuming
penchant
it's
for,
up my
for
alley.
Gothic stuff.
Yeah.
You know, it's early goth / death rock. They very much have their own sound. Different albums are going to sound pretty different. I'm not well versed in their whole catalog. Years and years ago, I dabbled with in a little bit of Christian Death here and there, but then kind of forgot about them. Last year, I was reading that massive sort of history of death rock that got published, and of course, Christian Death was kind of a centerpiece of that. So it got me listening to the band again for the first time in ages. And yeah, I'd forgotten how good some of this early stuff was. This was really the only album the original lineup put out. A lot of classic tracks on it. This CD reissue is nice because it also has as bonus tracks, the stuff that was from some of the compilations, like, Hell Comes to Your House. It includes a few of those.
That's
tracks.
a great comp.
Yeah, that's a cool one. And a lot of good stuff on that comp, besides just Christian Death. You got 45 Grave is on there.
That's great. Rick Agnew, the guitarist on that, is incredible. He played in DI and the Adolescents. And for years, I always thought he played in TSOL because they had like a gothish phase. And
would make sense.
But yeah, like he has a solo record that's really cool. I think it's called All by Myself. But yeah, that record's so good because it's so like, I hate to use the term adjacent because it just gets like driven into the ground, but like LA hardcore and punk was going on like next to all that. And some of the riffs are legit hard, bro. Like, there's really pummeling, like kind of riffing on that, but it's a goth or death rock or whatever you want to call it record. And also it's a very, very early example of like the band having bad blood and two versions of the same band cropping up. Like, it's one of the early, like the Valor Christian Death, and there was always kind of like
sort of a Roz
shit talk between the two camps, But I like some of the Valor stuff is okay. I don't mind it, but like definitely Only Theater of Pain is where it's at. Like that record fucking ruled.
Well, that's good to know because I've heard there was different camps, and I'm like, I don't want to just wade into this band and buy the wrong era and be like, oh, this sucks, and it ruins the whole thing for me. So
definitely start with that one, Marty, if you get the opportunity to. It's the classic. So even if you never hear anything else, if you hear that, you've heard the essential statement by the band. But yeah, Pat's right. By the second album, the original lineup had completely fallen apart. And yeah, a musician named Valor worked with Roz on the second album, and they got along okay for a period. But then Roz basically left his own band. Valor had a band for a long time that never quite broke through. And so it kind of became like, well, with the Christian Death name that already has sort of a following, we can break through and have, kind of a long run of it. But then of course Roz wasn't done with the name, and so yeah, it's always been a mess there. But and yeah, Pat, I like your point. Agnew could definitely have played like on Weathered Statues era TSOL. That would have made so much sense, but he didn't. But yeah, just the sound of it, it's got that very cold, bleak, early 80s LA death rock vibes to it, and the fact that I picked it up I think so. It was just last winter that I was reading that and got back into it. I'll go grab the book and show it next round in case folks are interested in checking it out. But yeah, Only Theater of Pain, tons of great stuff on it for folks who are into that different scene. So let's see what Mark's catching up here. You can totally hear the stuff. Yeah, absolutely can. Yep, good points, Mark. All right, Marty, I'll go grab my book real quick. My second book of the night. The professor's bookshelf is busy.
Reading is fundamental. Okay.
Books, check them out.
Tolka with Natus did their debut album. Man, picture yourself in the middle of the woods in the winter, and there's a pond, a frozen over pond. Well, when the opening screams of the first song happen, it feels like a fist cracks through this pond and the ice in the pond, and that this is just a very cold. I always liked this band for the fact that where a lot of Norwegian black metal moved on to other things, he kind of just perpetuated the old 90s style, which pretty cool. And he's always been very proficient at it. His riffs are weird, but he gets the melody and the atmosphere correct. And this album was just always very special. It just had that perfect sound, that perfect mid 90s style. And yeah, always been a fan of this project. Great stuff. Wintertime black metal for sure. How would we do a show like this without showing black metal? I don't know.
Something Mendoza I think mentioned have to stick to like a lot of death doom, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
I've got a
tough.
fair amount. I could talk about that, but like, I've actually never really pulled the trigger on that band that much. But I got the second one last month, which again, Björgvin. Sorry, and I noticed how it's like very well written, grim black metal stuff, but then there's just mouth harp.
Yeah,
just gonna have some. Yeah, like what the fuck is that? Like,
then there'd be like these weird folky things that come in. Then like the song with the banjo. It's like,
oh yeah, the banjo. Yeah,
the song with the banjo in it. Yeah, yep.
It's interesting. He's doing something different, I guess.
Yeah.
So
I'll be right back. I have to use the little potty room. I'll be right back.
This is cool. This is absolutely not reinventing the wheel at all. This is a recent band.
That band. That band is great. Drum
It's
machine
really,
shit. Good.
Yeah, it's really good. I keep wanting to call them Adderall. That's not their name.
I'll be right back.
Alderon. They're Canadian. I think French Canadian. They're Canadian at least. Majestic heights, melancholic depths. Nothing new necessarily. But what is really, it's hyper cold melodic. Melodic kind of black metal, mellow death kind of stuff, like we were talking about earlier. You're into Unanimated and Sacramentum and all that kind of stuff. High level of intensity. It's very, very fast. It's very, very tight. They have a whole bunch of records that they've churned out in the past like 5, 6, 7 years. But I heard this and I was like, I want to hear everything they've done because this is incredibly well written. It's all in French, it looks like. I'm still starting to absorb it, but it really imprinted on me strongly with the first couple of listens. I was like, this is high quality stuff, and it's definitely right what I'm in the mood for. So killer stuff. Adderall. Alderon.
Yeah, it's funny. There are just certain band names that will always do that to you. No matter how many times you see it, it's like you want to pronounce it the other way. All right, let's see. We'll shift gears over here while Marty's coming back. Here's the book I mentioned when we were talking about Christian death. It is called Phantoms, The Rise of Death Rock from the LA Punk Scene by Mikey Bean. Mikey was not a musician on the scene at the time. He was just a big fan who got into it a little bit later. But he did a massive amount of interviews with all the original players on the scene. This thing is a brick. It's full size here and this fucking thick.
Yeah, I think I need that.
If you're not familiar with it, I think it would probably be right up your alley, Pat. It's an extremely detailed read, but it is slow reading because it is just most of the pages are built like this.
Oh my God. It's like
4
a phone
columns,
book.
all text.
My God.
and it's basically an oral history for the most part. You know, Mikey interjects sections here and there, but they're pretty short. So most of it is oral history from all the key players, from Christian Death, 45 Grave, and just keep going through the list of bands from there. Tons of cool pictures, you know, spliced in along the way. Lots of different gig flyers in particular, photographs from folks. It is extremely detailed, really good read, but if you're not familiar with the scene, and Pat, I mean, I know you are, but for folks who aren't, it is slow reading because you have to kind of keep double checking. It's like, okay, who's this again? This little snippet's from which person, and what band were they in, or what club did they run, or who did they manage? It takes you a while to get used to the cast of characters. Because he also he took these interviews, and, you know, they are very short snippets most of the time. You can see there, like, you know, how often it's changing from one speaker to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. So a lot of oral histories, it's more like you have like a paragraph per person. Here it's like a sentence per person, and then it changes to the next person. But yeah, this was not, there's no publisher. It's just a self-published thing, but you can get it online basically still from like, it's one of those made to order publishers.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
So if you poke around like on Amazon or eBay, you'll see people selling used copies for sort of stupid prices. There's no reason to do that. You just go to if you Google it, you'll find the print to order place. Wait, 10 days and they'll send you a brand new copy straight off the printing press.
Oh, wow. Okay. Sick.
But yeah, that book took me the better part of a year to read. It's quite the endeavor.
It's pretty dense.
It is very dense, but for someone new, it's not a scene I know a ton about. So I mean, it was perfect for me to really, get a better feel for that early scene.
Sure.
For folks who are really into it, I think it's an absolute must-have. I found out about it. It was somebody had done a video book review on it on YouTube. I always forget the guy's name. He has a Goth channel, and it's kind of a funny name. He used to wear face paint.
Is it the English guy? I watch him.
No.
Something candles.
No, it's not.
I like his channel.
It's an American guy. It's not
okay.
It's funny. I want to say it has like doctor in the name, which I know that probably doesn't narrow it down a lot.
Dr. Goth.
Dr. Goth or something along that line. But he's had a pretty long running Gothic, is the main focus. I don't think he does the whole makeup thing as much anymore. But anyway, let's pick an album to talk about here. I should get in on this black metal thing with Summonins, Minus Morgul, their second album, the one that starts to define the classic summoning sound. The debut, Lugburs, is a black metal album that exists.
It's very average.
It is extremely average. It doesn't really sound, and it doesn't sound like what the band would do moving forward. Here, you're starting to get into more of that, more trancy, repetitive drum sounds and stuff. The Tolkien themes are coming to the fore in a big way. This is the first one that starts to have that world-building soundtrack vibe that summoning fans gravitate towards in their music. This particular one is the winter album for me because this one still has some of that thin, cold production values from black metal. And so, it feels like an icier album, which is something they changed over time. Some of their albums have a warmer production. Some of their albums almost lean a little more mechanical sounding. But this is the one that does have that kind of classic Northern European production to it. I think this was my first summoning album. I could be wrong about that, but I feel like this was my introduction to the band. It was another one where I had just
heard
about the band a lot.
Yeah, it was my first.
Sounded like it was my wheelhouse. Had to just order it, take a chance on it. But I liked it instantly and started picking up more stuff by the band. So Minus Morgul, if there's a winter flavored summoning album, that's got to be the one for me.
All right. Well, here is Captain Obvious. Picking an obvious one. Transylvanian Hunger,
I'm surprised it took us this long to get to Dark Throne.
Yeah, this album, I remember buying this. This is another one I paid $25 for. It was sitting on the shelf at a shop in Grand Rapids called Radio Kilroy. It was about the size of our kitchen, very small place, but it was filled with cool shit like this. They had a lot of cool, like Fields of the Nephilim 12 inches and everything from weirdo goth stuff to punk to black metal, and not a lot of power metal. I mean, you could tell the dude at the counter had a very specific taste. So I bought this. I'm like, ooh, Dark Throne, cool. At this point, I had liked A Blaze in the Northern Sky. I have not heard Under a Funeral Moon yet. I put this on and did not like it. It is just repetitive, unrelenting. Hated it. And but it was repeated listens. Obviously, you pay $25 for a CD back then. You're not going to listen to it once and say that sucks and never listen to it again. You're going to say, okay, what's up with this CD I just spent almost $30 on?
Yep.
Boom. About 5 times in, I'm starting to air drum to it, which isn't hard, and air guitar to it, and the occasional one of those numbers. But this thing, it just has that atmosphere. It's just Fenris sitting in his living room recording this stuff on by himself. And I like this album better than Under a Funeral Moon. That album is just way too cold void for me. I still like that record, but here there's a little bit more ambience to it, even though he just recorded it on a 4-track in his living room. There's something special about it. Yeah, there's a lot of repetition on here, but it's kind of the point, and it just has that. I mean, that's kind of what the album feels like to me. That picture kind of sums it up nicely. But and yes, this is the bad edition. But yeah,
naughty.
This is the naughty one. But that Made in England sticker made it cost $25 on the shelf back then, and back then it might as well have been $100. But anyway, yeah, this is a good winter album for me. Perfect vibe, that unrelenting, cold, hammering. Kind of feels like northern Michigan in the middle of an Alberta clipper. Am I right? All right. Pat.
Oddly, first of all, that's my favorite out of the, their classic trilogy or whatever. My memories of that record are very warm, not because of the atmosphere of the record, obviously. And he's clearly being like, yo, I like Vaughn a lot on that. But
I've been working too hard. Yeah.
I'd heard it, like, by the time I was like kind of reinvestigating black metal in my like early 30s. I'd listened to it a bunch on YouTube, and I think I might have even had it downloaded. But I was at a Chaos and Teos festival in Austin, Texas, and I specifically remember buying that and being like, oh, I need a good copy of the Repulsion LP of Horrified. I bought Horrified and that at the same time, and I drove around with a couple of friends of mine from Syracuse, blasting Dark Throne at like 95-degree heat in sunny Austin.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's how I think of that record. It doesn't make any sense. Anyways,
can you imagine if black metal exploded and became popular out of an Austin scene? How different it would sound.
Yeah. I mean, there is a fair amount of like black metal from that part of the United States.
Oh, sure there is, but it's just different. Bands like Thornspawn, I think they're Texas, aren't they? I mean, it's just,
I think
it's
so.
Different. It's more brutal than it is atmospheric.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. This is a new record, and it's one of my favorite records of the year. I'll just go ahead and spoil that. I'm going to do a 2025 video at some point, maybe this weekend, maybe next week. I don't know. And it's a Roman numeral record. And I was like, what is that? What is it? It's XXV. And I'm such a dum-dum. I had to look up like what numbers that was. And it was, when you add it all up, it's 10, 10, 5, 25. And I was like, oh, Hellshock's probably been around for 25 years. I bet that's what it is. But it's the new Hellshock record. Sorry for the glare.
Shit, I didn't even know they put out a new one.
Yeah, it's been out for a while. It's weird because it was put out by Blackwater out of Portland, and I still am having trouble finding it on their website. Like, I ordered it from a different distro. I don't know what the deal is, but their last record was really good. This one, the last record was very death metal crust, like via Boltthrower kind of stuff.
I
There's a lot
struggle
of
with
that.
his voice. I struggle with his voice on that one. I like the record, but his voice sounds a little burnout in a bad way. Like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I like it more on this one. This
Okay.
one has that sort of stuff going on, but it also calls back to like classic crust punk Amoebix. It's got that more like kind of epic Amoebix thing going on. Axe Grinder, who were basically Amoebix Junior sound wise, that kind of going on with it. But it's got faster metal elements. It's got some stuff that almost reaches kind of like either HM2 Swedish stuff and maybe some black metal too.
Okay.
But it
All right
also
on.
kind of keeps it in that kind of punk framework. It's got epic songs. Like it's only like 6 songs, but it's not really an EP. Like they have some pretty expansive moments on it.
Oh, okay.
It's very good. It does feel very wintry to me. But it doesn't hurt that there's like a D&D style, like I don't know, looks kind of like a White Walker actually. But like,
Yeah.
this warrior crust goblin frost
Crust warrior.
rot. Yeah. So yeah, it's good. I did like the last one a lot. I do think I like this one a little bit more. So
Got
check
the
it out.
Crust warrior with his pit bull right on the cover. Perfect.
Yep. I got my dog on a rope.
Binder twine. Here we go.
Hey, cheers to Kellen there in the
Hey,
live
Kellen.
chat. Let's see. Well, Marty, I'll piggyback off you, but the winter one for me is Under a Funeral Moon, which folks have been discussing all this early Dark Throne in the chat for the past several minutes. This one is the winter one for me simply because I got it late fall, early winter. And this was my introduction to Dark Throne. So I've always had a bit of a soft spot for this. I know it is not most people's favorite out of that, run of albums, but it was my introduction. I was very primed to move into black metal at this time, just in terms of like, life was kind of sucky, dealing with a lot of stuff. Did not want to hear happy music, wanted to hear, dark, angry, evil music. Hey, this shows up. Absolutely fucking perfect. So yeah, I've always associated with the winter through like, 99 and into 2000. Played this one a lot. It fit my general mood and temperament. Absolutely perfect. I don't go back to it as much these days, but it's still. I'm not going to argue if anyone says they like Transylvanian better or Blaze in Northern Sky. That's fine. This one always just, if I have to pick one, I'm going to pick this one for those kind of nostalgic reasons. Although it's not happy nostalgia. It's more like, this is just the one I happened to come across at the right time kind of nostalgia. So I'll go with that one. You can go with Transylvanian.
Right on. All right. I'm still Norway. I mean, there's just weird. Anyway, weird pop-up on my computer. Anyway, yeah, I'm in Norway. Kronet til Konga, the debut album by Dotheim's Guard.
Oh, nice.
This is my favorite album by them. Straight up. Yeah, they got more wackadoodle as they went along, a lot more electronic, a lot more avant-garde. Yeah, I still like all that stuff too, especially some of the industrial elements they did on like 666 International and Supervillain Outcast. I do like moments of that. Sometimes the synth passages are just kind of what the doctor ordered, but here it's straight up black metal. You've got Fenris on bass on here, guest bass, studio musician. And what sets this apart is they definitely feel like a component to the Norwegian black metal sound here, but they are a little bit left of what's going on. And what kind of sets them apart is the more shouted, triumphant shouting vocal style. This Alderon guy, very stately and kind of like he's announcing things over this really kind of bass dominant. The bass is very loud in here, but the music just kind of sneaks through this Norwegian black metal vibe with this stately presenter leading the way, an evil orator going through. And I always really appreciated that. It's just, they sounded a lot different than what was happening in black metal in Norway at the time. Again, they were a component for sure, but this was an album that kind of set off on its own path, where the album that came after it what the hell was the name of that album?
It's got the pentagrammy thing.
Pentagram on it. That's where they like, okay, we're gonna follow the leader here. We're gonna go back and display straight up Norwegian black metal the way everybody else is, except they're a little bit faster and a little bit more acidic in the vocal style. But this one was special. There's a little bit more folk stuff going on here, and the atypical vocal style. It made this record something special. God damn it. Always been a fun winter type album for me. And and people talk about it, but I think Monumental Possession was the name of the second one, right?
Yes.
That's the only other one I have.
Yeah.
Satanic
Art, though, with the one after that, the Satanic Art EP, where they get really kind of really fast and weird, kind of like Mayhem on the Wolfslayer Abyss. There's a little bit of that influence going in, where it's a little bit more machinery vibe, cold killing machine type of black metal. But anyway, that I really like Chrono Till Conga. Very good album. I kind of wish they did another one in that vein. But
yeah, that's a good pick, Marty. I think most people just forget about the early ones because that's a band that very much became associated with a very different style of black metal. But that one showed up at the local used store a few months ago, and like an idiot, I didn't buy it, and I should have.
You should have. Was it the
I don't know which pressing it was. I mean, it was a CD copy, but I don't know what pressing.
I don't even know what the hell pressing this is. I think it's an OG press, but I can't see shit. I'm gonna have to get bifocal. I don't know. Getting old shit sucks, everybody. Just saying. I'm not like over the hill or anything, but anyway.
Yeah. Regardless, the next time I see it, I'm picking it up because it was one of those like, maybe I'll get it next time. It's gone next time. Okay, well, I'll order a copy, and it's everywhere you look, it's like $20 plus shipping. I'm just like, fuck that.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll find it for $8 now.
Right.
I will find it again.
I'll keep my peepers open.
That record after Chrono Till Conga, wasn't that a little bit more like black thrash, if I'm remembering right, or am I wrong?
Yeah, there was a little bit more black thrash, but it also felt like they were trying to not be as different. It felt like it was just more. It wasn't weird like this one was. It was it seemed a little bit more in line with what was happening at the time, whereas this one did not.
Yeah, it's pretty good from what I remember. I've only heard it once or twice.
I was mildly disappointed, but yeah.
All right. Well, I might as well be Captain Obvious reporting for duty. I'll just go with talking about this because I mean I'm gonna have to. It's just
Well,
bear with
Captain
me,
Obvious needs a sidekick, right? Can I be your
Yeah. I mean,
I was showing Pure Holocaust long before you guys came along.
Well,
at the heart of winter and your blizzard beasts
and I was just
in the north.
I was just cheating and trying to see if like this was the one, the newest one that was out when I saw them, because I saw them with Satyricon, and I can't remember if it was 2000, but it was like Satyricon, Immortal, Angel Corpse, and one or two other bands.
Wow, I saw them with Manowar.
Pat wins.
Such a weird vibe, weird mixed bill. Yeah.
But from what I mean, whatever, like the riffs on this, I mean, people talk about it. I is this, and I'm not even that sure. Like, do people poo-poo this record because it has more like accessibility to it? Or
Ben
am I
might,
imagining?
Ben might, but I don't. I think that's an A+ riff album. A++
Yeah,
riff album.
Yeah, I mean, like when there was a period in my life where all I was listening to was like punk and hardcore, like, you know, early 80s hardcore and like garagey kind of punk stuff. I still listen to this during the winter. Like, I specifically remember having to be somewhere and riding my bike somewhere. I don't remember what it was. It was like a doctor's appointment I forgot about or something, but it was like 30 degrees out and I didn't have a car. It was like right when I moved back to
popping sweet wheelies while listening to Immortal.
Yeah, like on a like a shitty 10-speed, and I was like listening to At the Heart of Winter on my iPod or something. I don't know. But like, yeah, it's just hummable riffs for days. And I remember seeing them, and one story somebody told me about when they played at the Worcester Palladium, which Marty's been to. Worcester's, you know, kind of a rough town. The Palladium's right downtown in the middle of everything, and it was during the winter, it was 20, 30 degrees out, and Abbott just like was hot, presumably from playing, and just wanted to walk outside with no shirt on, bullet belt, corpse paint, the whole nine. And the bouncer was like, "Hey man, like it's really rough out here. Like there's some pretty sketchy people. You might not want to be walking around looking like that." And he just looked at the dude and grunted. It's like, "Ugh," and like just walked like into the darkness of downtown Worcester.
He answers the phone that way too, by the way. You call him, he's like, that's how he answers the phone. Anyway, I had
it's
a
on
thing
brand.
with that guy for a minute. Yeah.
But anyway, I mean, for the longest time, this was the only record I really knew by them for years and years. And just, in the past 10 years or so, I've been delving into the rest of their catalog. I bought Diabolical Full Moon Mysticism recently. I was spinning that the other day. It's great. It's kind of messy. It's kind of weird.
Their Bathory album. That's their Bathory album.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's great. I was listening to I'm fucking brain farting, but Full Holocaust or whatever the other
Pure
day.
Holocaust. Pure Holocaust.
Pure, Jesus. I'm finally catching up to all this stuff. But for years that was like not only the only Immortal record, but like that and like the Bathory Jubileum comps and the first like two or three Satyricon records were the only black metal records I listened to for a reason.
Yeah.
Like they just had staying power with me. So
yep.
Awesome stuff.
Fully agree. 100%.
So Marty, when you saw Manowar and Immortal together, would you say that other bands play but Immortal chills?
Manowar or Immortal did a great job. That was at that point the third time I've seen them. I saw their first ever stateside appearance, and that was it was out east. I can't remember if it was the November to Dismember or if it was I don't know. It was out east though. I saw, or it might have been Milwaukee. I don't remember. I saw their first ever appearance though, but they did great. They sounded great. Manowar phoned it in because there was nobody there. It was at Harpo's in Detroit, and nobody was there. 30 people, 50 people maybe in St. Andrews Hall. Yeah, not great. Not a great turnout, but Immortal were great. They sounded great. His voice was so loud, it was like drilling into your chest. There was just the right frequency where you could feel it in the center of your chest. Pretty cool. Anyway, sorry, I took your joke and just ran with serious stuff.
You played it awfully straight.
Yeah, sorry.
But yeah, Lee in the chat got it. Cheers to Lee. Yeah. I see. When it goes the other direction, you can always go just with other bands play Manowar shills because they phoned it in when I saw
it.
So. Fun with Manowar quotes. All right, let's pick an album. Winter album for me is Celestial Seasons.
Dude, how in the fuck out of all of the albums in our collections, out of all the Doom albums in our collections, why is this one the one? What the hell?
And it's not like it's like a classic 10 out of 10 album or anything like that. The funny
album.
thing, why this one's a winter album for me, and let's get your story next. You can piggyback off of this one. This band was featured on, let me think, the Death Is Just the Beginning Volume 3 comp, the 2 CD one. And they have a really good song on it. It's, is it Forever Scarlet Passion? It sounds, no, it has C's in the name of it. I don't remember offhand. Really good track. My girlfriend and I at the time, we got that compilation, loved that Celestial Season song. So we started looking for an album by Celestial Season, and then this came out. So when we found it at a Best Buy in Ohio, it was one of the rare times where we decided that we would both buy it. Usually to make the dollars stretch as much as we could, like she would buy certain things and then I would tape those, and I would buy other things and she could tape those. This was a case where we were looking at, I'm just like, we both want this one. So we both ended up buying a copy of it. Ended up loaning it to a buddy of mine. He borrowed it for the weekend. And like the next week, he's like, "Hey, can I hang on to that Celestial Season album for a while longer?" I'm just like, yeah, that's cool. It's like you can dub it or whatever. He's like, well, I'm going to get a copy of it, next time go out. Just like, I'm kind of surprised you liked it that much. I didn't know what you'd think of that one because it's not really his style stuff. He was a lot more into hardcore, punk, thrash, power metal, lots of stuff. But this kind of warm, fuzzy, doomy stuff wasn't really his bag. He's like, well, I think it's okay. He's like, but my wife really digs that record, dude. He's just got this big smile. She's like, oh, I get it. Yeah, absolutely. You guys have fun. Just bring it back in one piece. So yeah, we all ended up playing Solar Lovers a ton throughout that particular winter. It was just one of those albums that the guys really liked, but a lot of the girls we were hanging around with, they really liked the album and got strongly attached to it as well. So everybody could enjoy Celestial Season for at least that one winter season. So now, Marty, what's your story on Solar Lovers?
It's basically because really this is a very warm album.
Yeah, it doesn't have a cold sound.
No, it doesn't at all. And I think I acquired it in the wintertime. I remember listening to it a lot, and I think it was like a November time I must have picked this thing up. It's kind of funny that they took the vacuum Hoover logo and put Groover in there instead, which is funny because
never understood that.
Yeah, that's the Hoover vacuum cleaner logo, and they changed it to Groover because this is a style of doom that has a groove to it. There's it's a very pronounced groove. As this isn't slow and abysmal. There's groove in these riffs, and they never go super slow either, but they're not fast. They're just kind of a slower mid pace. The songs just have this warm rush to them, and the singer, he maintains there's no clean singing on this. It's all gruff, death styled vocals, but he sings very clearly. You can understand everything he's saying. And they do a very cool cover of the song Vienna, which I think is an Ultravox cover. Is that the band Ultravox? Man, and it's completely in the Celestial Season style. It is just a killer cover song that fits perfectly within their concept. And this album, even though there's a groovy nature to it, there's still a depressing sort of vibe to this record. I don't know what it is. The production on it's perfect. It's very fuzzy, like you mentioned, fuzzy. It is. Yep. The guitar tone has a fuzzy sound to it, but very thick, very full, great riffs with movement. Why the hell this relates to winter? I mean, I was going through the pile. I touched it and went, shit, I listen to this all the time in the winter. It just seemed to fit for some reason, even though it's very warm. It's a very warm and organic sounding album. But you guys have never heard this. This is the only album I own by this band. I don't even know if I've heard Forever Scarlet Passion.
I'm looking at their middle archives. I'm surprised they have a lot of albums out. I didn't realize they had this much. Forever Scarlet Passion was the debut, and it has more of a kind of 90s death doom sound to it. And then I've heard maybe one of these later ones, but don't remember much about it. So yeah. And that was the funny thing about that compilation track. It very much feels like it falls in between Forever Scarlet Passion style and the Celestial and the Solar Lover style. So I don't know if they ever really did a whole lot that sounded.
This is like driving me crazy. I have one of their records that I don't remember what it is. Let's see.
Yeah, Annika married a drummer in this band, but I don't think it was this guy. This guy's name is Jason. So
yeah, I just checked that for Goldie. It was a good question, but yeah, I didn't know about the connection to Annika.
Vic Records, one of my favorite reissue labels that puts out weird, compilations and demos and stuff. This is The Merciful, which is, I think, their demo or EP from 1991, Promises, and their promo from 1994. So it's like, an odds and ends kind of thing. And it's
that's
solid,
a lot more death doomy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's solid death doom stuff. I just always I like this, but I keep thinking this is like a brand of tea. Because The sleepy time tea I get is like celestial seasonings, I think, or something.
Yeah, yeah.
So I always think of the, I don't know. It always throws
Well,
me off.
make no mistake, this is Death Doom as well, but there is just a more lighthearted grooviness to it. But again, if you've never heard this record, check it out. It's exceptional. I really always have enjoyed it, and I'm pretty picky when it comes to the Death Doom stuff, and that one always clicked. I don't know why I never investigated further. Usually we get a band we like, oh, I must have more of the precious,
Yeah,
and then you go out
give
and
it the treatment.
yeah. All right, Patrick, what have you got?
All right. Well, okay. Well, we're doing Death Doom. Let's talk about Dusk, shall we?
Well, right on. Yeah.
Dusk, the self-titled. These both got reissued on the Crypt and Dark Descent, I think. Maybe just the Crypt. I don't know. Majestic Thou and Ruin and Dusk. I mean, it's an American take on Doom Death from Wisconsin. Really good stuff. I mean,
It is.
Along with Morgion and Mind Rot, American people kind of maybe taking some inspiration from the Peaceville stuff and doing their own spin on it. Very bleak, very heavy, but super catchy, well produced, great, awesome sounding, like projected kind of growls and stuff. A lot of emotion behind it. I haven't checked out their new. I guess they reformed and did a new record or something. I haven't heard it. But those two recordings are fantastic. It's just like great, like Midwestern Death Doom from the heyday, from the mid-90s.
When that band broke up, a couple guys from that band splintered off and did a band called Aphotic.
Lead? Oh, okay.
I think it was Aphotic. Kind of Agalocky type of woodsy type of black metal. I wouldn't say straight up Agalock, but that influence is definitely in the mix somewhere. Yeah. All right, good pick. Yeah, well, I've listened to that band in a hot minute. Oh wow, Dusk is playing the Milwaukee Metal Fest. Wow,
nice. Makes sense.
Makes sense. All right, Ellen is away. God, this is ridiculous how much Norwegian shit I pick for this. We're going to talk about Bathory. You might as well talk about my favorite Enslaved album, which is kind of has a tribute to them. And Eld, this is my favorite Enslaved album. And this album that starts off with 793, The Battle of Linsfarna, which is a complete, utter Hammerheart era Bathory tribute as far as I'm concerned. I love the acoustic guitar and how it spins into this massive epic melody line, and when the guitars kick in, absolutely perfect. And they had this drummer on here called Helgeson. His drums are produced really weird on here. They're very upfront and punchy. They're really tight sounding and they cut through really well. And he's a very colorful drummer. So a lot of very rocky but busy drum fills. Always loved it. Always loved it. And yeah, that whole Viking influence on the first song really sets the mood for this. And of course, they go into that twisted. Grudela's voice is just absolutely snarling and nasty sounding. This is my favorite Enslaved album. They put out some great stuff. Issa is also up there. I really love the Issa album. Below the Lights, Frost. I do enjoy Frost. I think they became better songwriters after Frost, though. I think Frost has some really cool moments. What were you gonna say?
I just got this in the mail today. That's a
good one too.
This is the one. Is this the one after Frost? I don't know. It's before they started to go really proggy.
I think this is the one after Frost, I believe.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know. I'm still getting kind of familiar with them, but yeah, I don't know. I've liked everything. I have Frost and Eld, and I just got this today. So
right on. Well, you might as well go again. The professor is out and about.
The prof. Here's a good one. Marty, you might like this if you haven't heard it. Do you like Neurosis?
Yeah, I had a pretty hot moment with Neurosis over the years. I Souls at Zero is my favorite Neurosis album. But I like them, but I just kind of, when they were popular, I was really into them, and then I've kind of faded away. I haven't listened to Neurosis in a long time.
I think there was like I mean, Neurosis was massively influential on like a lot of metal and stuff like that. You know, bands like ISIS came afterwards and everything. This was a band that more came out of like the crust and grind scene. The original members of this band were in a band called Gianks from Sweden. I want to say they did a split with Filthy Christians back in the day, and this is what they did afterwards. And it's far more heavily influenced by Neurosis, but it's less like expansive and massive sounding and like kind of psychedelic the way and proggy the way that Neurosis went. It's more just like heavy, crushing, pummeling stuff. I've gone on a big deep dive with them again recently. They have a lot of good albums. I found a lot on eBay that had this, and now as a result of that, I have an extra copy. If you want it, I'll send it to you.
I'll check it out. If you
this
want
album balance of
load.
pain. Yeah, I'd be happy to send it to you. And then they have like, I don't know, the lot came with like another LP they did, a double LP they did, and then a 10-inch. So I have like, I think their whole discography now. But it's that really massive, epic sounding, like heavy, sludgy crust stuff. In a lot of ways, very similar to Neurosis, but it's got its own identity too. Like they go a little bit more like fast punk, like in certain moments and everything, like kind of more hardcore briefly. But yeah, really good. There was a band called Christ Driver from Seattle that were also kind of in the same vein. And there's a Wormwood were also kind of this, wasn't quite straight up sludge the way like I Hate God or Buzz Oven was. That was more like Scumbag, like Black Sabbath-y kind of. This was more like just that kind of droney post-punk crust kind of shit. It's very good. It feels very wintry to me, so it's worth checking out.
I have a Wormwood 7-inch. I wonder if it's the same band you're talking about.
I don't know. I have a Wormwood 7-inch, and they had a pretty good full length too, from like around the turn of the century, I want to say. I can't remember it was a French title, although they were an American band. It was like Requisiat or something like that.
Okay.
They were really good. So
all right. Okay, I've got one more Norwegian CD. We'll get this out of the way. And, you know, people might roll their eyes at this one, but Stormblast by Dimmu Borgir. Love this record.
Man. Yeah.
It rules. It's before they got really super commercial. What's that?
The first two are fucking good.
First two are great. For All Tid's great, but this here, they kind of perfect it. And it's right in the pocket with the Norwegian sound. You know, the keyboards are a nice companion on here. They provide the atmosphere. It's a lot of mid-paced style black metal, and I love it. I think it's great. They did a great job on this. You know, I even like the stuff, you know, Throne Darkness Triumphant, really good. Spiritual Black
like
Dimensions is really good. Death Called Armageddon, really good, but they're getting more complex, a lot more blasting. Really, I don't know. It's a band that I kind of stopped following at a certain point, but this is a very special record. It just has that winter mood on here.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, like the old logo, it's weird, and it sucks when bands change it. Of course, this logo is problematic for putting it on an album or a CD. You have to tuck it in a weird spot, but that's a weird designer geek type shit. Pat.
So this one, again, this is a recent one, but I was reading descriptions of stuff and I was like, I got to check this out because it's saying black metal, but doom, and they're Norwegian as well. So continuing with the theme, Carpathian full moon, not Carpathian forest. I imagine the Carpathian full moon is over the Carpathian forest.
I would think so.
Serenades and Blood Minor. I'd never heard of this band. I was just like looking for stuff to waste my money on online.
Always saw it in ads in the magazines back in the day. I never heard that stuff, though.
Originally came out in like 94. So, you know, I don't know what it originally came out on, but it was reissued on Peaceville. It's great. It does remind me a lot of like Peaceville kind of doom stuff, but with like scathing black metal vocals. It seems like very comfortably in between like the early Peaceville 3 stuff and like Norwegian black metal, you know, and the riffs are good. There's a lot of like almost kind of traditional leaning metal riffs in it, kind of meaty, catchy, not too complex kind of riffs, done black metal-ish, but slow. Yeah, I don't know. It's worth checking out. If you haven't
That's
heard
kind
it.
of checking a lot of boxes. You say Peaceville 3 mixed with Norwegian black metal. I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, it's solid. I mean, that's just my initial impressions, first couple of listens. I might be oversimplifying, but it's worth checking out, I'd say. Now I gotta go again. I'm too much water. I'll be right back. Sorry,
Old man bladder.
I know.
All right.
Run a couple, Alan, because we kind of blew by you there.
Yeah, no worries. Sorry, I heard something in the other room. I was like, I better go check and see what that was. But the little guy's just having some trouble falling asleep. He's gotten on that weird sleep schedule kids have during winter break.
Yeah, my kids would stay up till 4 a.m, and it's gonna come to haunt him so bad here in a couple days.
Yep. So same thing here. He's actually been pretty good about getting to bed lately, but tonight's the night he just can't doze off.
Yep.
All right, let's find some things to pair together then. These two makes sense. Both of these are bands I discovered in November of 95. And so I spent a lot of time that winter listening to these. Heard them on a road trip. They were bands I'd heard of, but never got to really check out. Instantly fell in love with both bands and both these albums. So the first one, Boltthrower's War Master. Nothing particularly wintry about this album, except again, first heard them on November 1st, 1995. It was the day after October we hit the road for a big paleontology thing. And this was one of the tapes that my buddy had in the car. He was a big Boltthrower fan. He was into some of the gaming stuff, and this album had the big Games Workshop connection still kind of going on like they had with Realms of Chaos. And at the time, I was really burned out on death metal. Both he and I, again, had a lot of the same musical tastes, and neither of us were very keen on American or just typical sounding death metal at that time. Too many people were just running it in the ground for us. We were listening to their stuff. He's like, this band is actually really cool. I'm like, well, let's give it a try. And I was kind of instantly hooked. I'm like, damn, that I like. Crushingly heavy, but they always had, lots of hooks in their music, which I felt like a lot of, death metal by 95 definitely was a little lacking in. So had to track this down as soon as I could and played it a lot that winter. And the other thing he introduced me to on that car ride was Misfits. This was one of his big bands. And I, again, knew a little bit about the band and stuff. We actually got to know each other because he had a Crimson Ghost patch on his jacket. And so, yeah, he played Legacy of Brutality. And again, instantly fell in love. It had everything I wanted in music because it has that strong connection to old 50s and 60s, pop and rock and rockabilly, which I grew up listening to with my dad. But this was obviously mutated for the 1980s with, the hardcore and punk and then leaning somewhat metal. But I think this was a good introduction to Misfits for me too, since the track list on the Legacy collection leans towards the earlier stuff. You've got Static Age, TV Casualty, Hybrid Moments, Spinal Remains. Some of these are slightly weird versions. I don't remember the details, but I think, Glenn had sort of gone in and tweaked some of these songs a bit for this particular collection because it's got a couple of weird ones at the end, like American Nightmare. But nevertheless, instantly loved almost every song on it. So this was another one I had to pick up. So that winter was definitely me deep diving into Misfits pretty hard. And yeah, one of the girls I knew and hung out at the time, she tended to be more punk, hardcore, and industrial leaning. Like she listened to like a lot of like KMF, the Kill Motherfucking Depeche Mode. That one.
KMF,
I can never get the letters right, but I remember what it stands for.
Or keep Madonna
Misfits,
from doing music also.
I haven't heard that one before, but I like it. But yeah, so she was a Misfits fan also. She's like, oh, if you like that, here. She ran me off a TDK tape, and one of her friends had a few of the old 7-inches. And so I had the tape had, the actual 7-inch versions of like Teenagers from Mars and some stuff. So that was really cool. So yeah, both Boltthrower and Misfits were November discoveries that ate up a lot of my playlist space for the rest of that winter. So strong winter association for both of those albums in particular.
All right. Black metal. Ethereal with Nord, probably their best album. And this is a reissue on Soul Cellar. Doesn't have the original cover, which is a bummer. But yeah, this is Swedish black metal, which is a lot different than Norwegian black metal. It's more tremolo, note based, fast, kind of those soaring harmony lines based on tremolo note picking. Wow, this is just a really well put together, aggressive album that the original cover has got like a snowscape on it, like snow falling. It's kind of the perfect cover art for. I don't know why they didn't use it on this. This is about as lame as you can get, really. But yeah, always liked this band. I think my first album with this band was Hell Eternal was the name of it. Okay. And then I heard this and went, whoa, this is way better. I don't know where it falls in their lineage. Those are the only two I've heard from this band, but this is really well done. Excellent winter time black metal for my ears anyway.
I just got that, and it's a double CD with Nord, and I think they skipped. I'm looking at their Discogs right now. Full disclosure, I'm cheating. But it has Nord, but I think it skips Lords of the Night Realm for some reason. It also has Hell Eternal on it. I think.
Huh.
Weird,
Okay.
but yeah. I'm seeing it on here now. I don't know why they skipped that. I don't know. But yeah, no, it's awesome. I bought a ton of shit this past month, and that's one where I'm like, yeah, I mean, obviously I should be listening to this if I'm in the mood for winter.
Wait a minute. Didn't I hear not too long ago that I'm going to be buying less stuff this year?
Yeah.
You know, we all say it. We all say it.
I took a month off. I was good. I was good for a month. I didn't spend any money online. Not counting record stores, but I didn't spend any money online buying records for an entire month. And then that month was over.
Dude, I can get on the wagon for 2 months. I'm great. And then all of a sudden when that fall from grace happens, it's like it's worse. It's like I buy 3 times as much as I would have normally. Like, yeah, it's fine. I didn't buy any. I can have, whatnot. Oh, that's what's on there. Oh, cool. Oh, it's a sickness. It's bad. Anyway.
Yeah,
I don't know what's wrong with you guys. I didn't buy 13 CDs online last week.
See,
I didn't buy 10
you too.
I didn't buy 10 things at the record store today. You guys need help. You're sick little monkeys. You need help.
Yeah. Monkeys Anonymous.
So recently, I went to a lovely little online distributor. I've had 2 beers. I don't know why I can't pronounce anything. Distributor and label, Binder and Recordings. I don't know if you've heard of them. It's fantastic. Yeah. And I just went looking for anything that mentioned winter, like black metal. So I got this Augrimer from the Lone Winter's Cold.
Dude,
this came out.
I was like slammed. I was packaging so many orders. I saw your thing come through. I'm like, God damn it. I'm sure I've got some stuff I can send to Pat. But I'm like looking at the stuff you picked. I'm like, what the fuck tip is he on? You ordered shit that I'm like looking at. I'm like, this makes no sense for Pat. But I was going to fill it in, but I didn't have any wherewithal to add to it. So next time I'll make it a little bit better.
Just that's fine. You can send me what I ordered. You don't have to.
But I was like shocked at the order. I'm like, this is weird. It's like I don't get what he's ordering here.
I've just been, like obviously I know the heavy hitters. But I was like, oh, this sounds interesting, and it's just like mentioning winter in the title. I'm like, okay. But it's from 2009. It's a German band. It's pretty stripped down. Like it's a 3-piece. I don't think they screw around with really any atmospheric like keyboard stuff or anything. But it's got a good sense of like tasteful melody here and there. It's raw, grim black metal. And they don't go out and try to do anything like regal sounding like Swedish stuff or anything like that. But it's meat and potatoes, not to use an overused turn of phrase too much. But it's good. It's certainly solid. It's very cold sounding. It's catchy. I recommend it if you're looking to scratch that itch. It's from the Lone Winter's Cold. So yeah.
I don't even know if I listened to that CD. It's been sitting on the shelf for years.
I'm
Yeah.
happy to happy to take it off your hands
Cool.
for whatever
Yeah,
it was, like $7 or whatever.
right. All right, Alan.
Yeah, folks in the chat, we're talking the the Dark Descent 30% off end of year sale. Caught several of us.
Is
I
that
think.
over? Because I
Yeah.
bought a record from them yesterday and I didn't even know anything about a sale. Was it? If it is, I'm pissed because
I do not know, to be honest. But yeah, you had to enter something like 2026 at checkout as the promo code.
God damn it. You know what? Money is stupid and I just having it is just a problem. So I just get rid of it. It's easier to have stuff than money.
I was okay. I got 3 CDs, spent about $30, including shipping. Nothing terrible. You know,
I watched Roger's top 20 death metal albums last night after watching Stranger Things, and Sepulchral Curse came up. I'm like, how good could it be? And I hit play on it and I'm like, holy shit, this rules, and went and bought it. So Roger. Anyway, sorry, Alan.
Oh no, it's all good. And Carbon, yes, absolutely. Static Age, that A side is impeccable. You couldn't ask for better music. But yeah. Yeah, the Dark Descent will there's a box with my name on it that will get here sooner or later. Dark Descent sometimes is real slow to ship to me, is my only complaint with them. Sometimes I get this stuff kind of normal, and other times it's like weeks before I'll get a box from them. Don't know why that is. Guess we'll see how it works this time. Don't know. Anyway, what do we got? Hey, let's go back to Norway. Kind of surprised this band hasn't come up already, because some of their stuff definitely feels wintry to me. Eternus, and I picked in particular the Dark Sorcery EP. In the kind of the same vein as what they would do in the Wandering Moon. Wandering Moon, I mean, it really builds up nicely though and gets this big epic sweep. With the Dark Sorcery era material, it still has that same very dark, deep menace to it, but it doesn't have the same flow that you had on Beyond the Wandering Moon. But I still really love the tracks on this as well. There was a 7-inch around this time. This is a different press of Dark Sorcery.
I have both of those as well.
Yeah. This one has
Sick Little Monkeys. Yeah, it's bonus
Sick
track.
Little Monkeys, indeed. This one has one bonus track, which is In the Darkest Circles of Time, which is one of the tracks from the 7-inch, if I remember right. I always wonder, like, come on, it's only an EP. You could have put both songs from the single on here. But different cover. I've got this one first. I found it somewhere. And then later found this for a decent price. Like, oh, well, yeah, I think I need that too. But Eternus definitely has that kind of dark, moonlit wintertime kind of vibes all over their early music. I guess, and so the night became maybe a little bit less so. That, has a little bit of its own sound, which I love to death also. But I don't really think of that as a winter sound. The EP and the first full length, I would say very, very winter worthy material from Eternus. And the later stuff we just want to talk about because it's boring death metal. And I mean, death metal that is really boring. You hate to see a band have something that's kind of unique, that makes them special, and they trade it in for the same generic sound that a bunch of other bands are doing.
Yep.
I guess if you're struggling, you're not breaking through the way you thought you would, and you see a bunch of other bands doing better than you, maybe there's just a temptation there to try to go in that direction. Maybe you get tired with that sound that you were doing and you're just looking for something else to try. I don't know. I'm not going to accuse them of selling out or anything like that, but I really did feel like they went from cool and unique to boring and generic over the course of barely 2 albums. But now, Marty, you like the newer albums. I haven't really given them much attention, but you've said the last 1 or 2 have been a pretty nice return to form. Is that right?
Yeah. Heathen and Philosopher are back on track to, and so the night became, it would have been a good follow-up. Heathen would have been a good follow-up to that as opposed to Shadows of Old. But
I should give those a little more chance. I've played them in the background, but I haven't really sat down and given them enough attention to see what's going on.
I think they got the memo that the boring death metal wasn't cutting the mustard to their.
Yeah, it's not exactly like people started clamoring for Eternus merch as soon as they did that. Well, what you got next, sir?
Well, I'm going to be using my Konami code again, Eric. Silence of December by Deinonychus.
Oh, nice.
Always liked this band, and
Kind of cool.
this is just this is a cacophonous band that continue. They just put out a new record last year, but this is a one-man project, and it is kind of a buzzsaw guitar tone, and there's a little bit of a vampiric romanticism going through it a little bit, which has always been somewhat of an annoyance, but I always like this album. Very manic in the vocal delivery, mixed with that buzzsaw guitar tone. It's just very solid, man. The band photo. There you go. You got the frilly Count Dracula shirt underneath the nice overcoat there. I don't know. It looks cheesy. It looks worse than it sounds, but I think there's another one I acquired in the winter months. I think I got this from the Full Moon Productions mail out catalogs they used to do back in the day. This is one I picked up through there, and always had it was during a very special time where I was acquiring a lot of black metal during this time when I was just kind of finding out about it. So a lot of all these albums from this era have always been kind of close to my heart for sure.
Yeah. Kind of a cool project. Their stuff hasn't held up incredibly great for me over time, but a lot of their stuff was reissued in the past year or two, so it's not too hard to get these days if folks want to check them out. But yeah, they do have kind of a cool vibe. I mean, they're named after a dinosaur, so they already get extra points for that. But at least one or two of their albums kind of stray out of that pattern. And get like a little more straightforward death metal, don't they? I'm thinking like Warfare Machines and stuff.
Yeah, I didn't like that one very much. That one, I own it, but I didn't care for that one much. But yeah.
It's okay, but it doesn't feel like the earlier Deinonychus material.
Ronnie James Dio. I was going to grab the album, but I just showed it the other day. This week, I showed it on the Wednesday metal tag, so I wasn't going to do a double dip, I guess. Anyway, Pat.
I'm showing this off mostly just for Jason Hook. Slapshot back
on the What's up, Jason?
I don't even know if he's on. I can't even see the chat, but I have this with him in mind. Slapshot back on the map, mostly for the song "Killing Frost." I'm trying to spin this to be wintry. Boston band, Northeast. I will say that like the trend in hardcore at the time was particularly straight edge hardcore was to be very positive, and Slapshot certainly bucked that. You know, like the song "Chip on My Shoulder" is about like going specifically to Harvard Square and getting in a fight. You know, "Where There's Smoke, There's Fire" is also another kind of like tough, you know, proto tough guyish song. And "Killing Frost" is like this great kind of mid-paced, desperate kind of song. And if you want to get into it, they did used to carry like hockey sticks around, and that's very wintry. But I just grabbed this because there's a song called "Killing Frost" on it, and it's awesome. Just as an afterthought. Right so on. Yeah, if you're not familiar with Slapshot, though, I mean, they were like a pretty unique band in the scope of hardcore. Just because their vocalist had these really baritone, like growly vocals. They were super like dark and negative, despite the fact that at least their singer was straight edge. And they did have like sort of a crossover element, like kind of early on, maybe not so much with the structure of the music, but like cool solos. And then by their second full length, this is technically an EP, Step on It was their first full length. And then Sudden Death Overtime, big hockey reference there, was kind of way more of a metal record, but it wasn't, not maybe more of a crossover record, but it wasn't crossover in the same way DRI was or anything like that. It was a little bit more streamlined. Like it felt like a new genre kind of being created, as opposed to like this kind of hodgepodge of hardcore and metal, you know, like bands like DRI and SOD is like, oh, here's a hardcore part, here's a metal part, you know. Slapshot felt like it was like more integrated, which I think led the way for a lot of late 80s hardcore and early 90s hardcore to just be kind of like metallic and have like a metal level playing, but its own thing, not as like, here's our metal part, you know? So, but yeah, Killing Frost, great song. Jason Hook, get into it.
Bring back Jason Hook. I miss Jason Hook on the YouTubes.
Yeah, me too.
Alan.
Yeah, Jason's videos were always fun to check out. Let's see. Norway. Somehow I don't think we've, unless you guys talked about him while I had to duck out there for a minute. Everything about this album screams winter.
Yeah.
The cover art, you know, the color scheme, the image itself, again, just, you know, moonlit, wintry night. We're talking about Emperors in the night side eclipse, by the way, for those who are listening but not watching. This one, I was trying to remember where I first came across Emperor, and I'm pretty sure it was a college radio find. And like I said, the college radio station in that corner of Ohio didn't feature much Norwegian black metal early on. It really wasn't until, if they were playing much in 94, even, it was sparse. I think it was more like 95 when you started hearing more of this stuff trickle into their playlist. They were still very hung up on the whole death metal scene. But, you know, they were starting to play a few tracks by things like Samael, Emperor, and it was like, oh, well, now that's got my attention. Let's go check that out. This was another case where I went to the record store, and they actually did have a copy of Nightside Eclipse there on the shelf. But I think I had exactly enough money to buy one CD. And it was either like this or Boltthrower. And I bought the Boltthrower figuring nobody was going to be interested in this. I could come back next week when I had my paycheck cashed. We all know how that story ends. Several months later, 3,000 miles away at a geology conference in Arizona, the store had a copy of Nightside Eclipse. So it took a little while to get that one. But yeah, just, you know, all the layers of synths and stuff on this, you know, it gives that very, you know, high, thin, kind of airy sound that screams winter to me. So more so than their other albums do. This one would definitely be the pick. All the pictures, I mean, this of course became, you know, a template. So many bands doing similar things after this. Not a lot. I mean, everyone knows the album. Not a ton to say. Even, you know, just the pictures inside. Just, you know, it looks like this has to be taken at winter time. There's just no way it could be taken any other season of the year. And the whole CD just collapsed on me.
Fuck that CD.
I'll put that back together while I pass over to Marty.
$7 you paid on that. You could spend an extra $1 on a new case, Ellen.
Actually, I already had. This is not the original cover, so that's not the price I paid for it.
Oh, okay.
I had to replace the cover because it was cracked. But yeah, never had the inner tray just randomly explode out. Usually, you got to jimmy these things out a little bit, but
yep,
that one wanted to be free, and there we go. We'll get it back together in a second.
Oh, but thus spake the night spirit.
I suppose so.
All right. I'm skipping myself because I'm out of bullets. Pat, it's up to you. What do you got?
Oh, I completely forgot. Like, I thought of this earlier when I was looking at the Slapshot LP, and then I was like, oh, yeah, this is kind of a cheat, throwing this in just kind of as a half joke. The drummer, Mark McKay from Slapshot, this guy right here, I used to work with him. They played some festival with Immortal, and they had a really awkward interaction where they got in like a little shuttle van together, Mark and I think Choke, the singer, with the drummer from Immortal after some like Dynamo Fest or something like that. And Mark is one of the nicest people I've ever met, and apparently was just trying to, I think it was the guy's name, Horg, the guy who played drums in Immortal.
Yeah.
Was trying to make small talk with him and was like, hey man, what do you have for your setup? Like, what do you play drum wise or whatever? And the guy's like, Satan gives me all the power I need, like not completely kayfabe, like not giving up any. And then even more awkwardly, apparently the driver in the little minivan or whatever got lost, and that Horde guy had to catch a flight, and he was like smashing down he had his like cymbal stand with him for whatever reason. He was like carrying parts of his drums. He was like, I need to get to the fucking plane. The Slapshot guys were like, Uh, so there's a picture for you told to me by one of the guys in that band. And I think right after that, I saw a Slapshot at a Posse Numbers Festival, and Choke was wearing an Immortal long sleeve, which was not something I was ever expecting to see at the time. Anyways, my last pick, this is it, and I'm out of gas here, is I gave this another shot. I got it when it came out, and I liked it okay. Now it's really clicking with me this winter. This Triptychon record, Eparista Daemons.
Mm-hmm.
This is fantastic. I didn't hate it before, but I don't know. I kind of was having trouble paying attention to it, getting a little bored with it and stuff. This is wonderful. Like super heavy. You know, it's Tom G. Warrior's Vision. It's a more doomy, heavy, crushing version of Celtic Frost. I don't know what I was thinking before. You know, I guess I just had to progress a little bit as a person to really appreciate it. But yeah, this is a masterpiece. I had a few people commenting and being like, because I think I mentioned it a few months ago, being like, didn't really get into Triptychon or Monotheist that much. And a few people were like, dude, you gotta check back in with that shit. And they were right. This is awesome. Just like oppressive, crushing, kind of a doom take on Celtic Frost.
Yep.
The HR Giger art, man, like HR Giger art, and people's tolerance for it and not getting it banned has come a long way since the Dead Kennedys, because that is definitely like a biomechanical P and a V, like right there. But,
P and a V.
but or maybe an A. No, it's a V, I think. Anyways, this sorry to completely just erase everything I said by making a crass joke, but no, this is awesome. This is very, very good.
All right, Alan.
Hey, Jay's got a fun pick there. Yeah, Overlord's Return of the Snow Giant. It's an okay one, Jay. Yeah, I haven't heard that in forever. All right, I've got a few last ones I'll burn through here as we wrap things up. Folks have been mentioning some good non-metal picks. My non-metal winter album is definitely Pink Floyd's The Division Bell. We've talked about this a few times before. This was huge when I was in college. And again, it is super cold and super snowy, so there wasn't a ton to do out and about. You know, it's college, maybe you trundled downtown, had a few drinks. If you hooked up with somebody, you went back and you definitely screwed the night away listening to The Division Bell. You could just wander through the dorms. You could tell exactly who was getting laid on any given night just by walking down the halls. Like, that room's playing The Division Bell. Next three rooms,
something to do with P and V, right? P and V.
This guy's playing Rush's Tom Sawyer. He is so just jerking off by himself. 2 doors down, there's another Division Bell. Okay, yep. He found somebody down at the bar. Everybody wanted to fuck to this album all winter free. So that one has a winter connection. We'll wrap up on a couple of metal ones. The My Dying Bride Trinity collection found this during winter out searching in Eastern Ohio. Yeah, it has, a lot of the early EPs and singles and stuff. And this music is perfect for a wintertime vibe, dark, heavy, but, with that kind of, classic strains with the violin and everything. So we played this a ton during winters. And the last one, Cemetery is an Evil Shade of Gray. I originally had this on a cassette tape, like an original cassette copy. It
Me
had
too.
to be one of the last cassettes I ever bought. I think I just couldn't find the CD, but the record store had the tapes. I was like, well, I'll take what I can get. And this one, yeah, I tended to play it a lot on a Walkman, walking back and forth around campus, going to I had like chem labs and stuff that would run to 9 or 9:30 at night. And for some reason, I always wanted to play this walking back through the cold and dark, which was never a good idea because it's a creepy album in a way. And yeah, you could definitely freak yourself out a bit having this blasting through headphones, having to walk 20 minutes when it's already 10 degrees below zero. And you're just, trying to shuffle your way through the snow and icy sidewalks to get back to a dorm room. But yeah, so Evil Shade of Gray also was something that got played a lot in the winters back there in the mid-90s. Stack is done.
CD goes for $100 on Discogs. Really, I'd never sell mine, but holy shit!
It's one of those black mark ones that has never gotten
Never been
reissued,
reissued, yep.
apparently,
Yeah.
and needs it.
I'm sorry. I definitely have a Russian bootleg of it, and that's all I'll ever own.
Yeah, I had the tape and it got eaten. I got rid of it. And do I still have it? No, I think I got rid of it. No, I got the CD.
Yeah, I got this on. This is an original CD, but I mean, I got it. It was where I upgraded most of my tapes, at the turn of the century when I could. So I didn't have, even then it was a little bit of a pain to get. I might have given like $15 or $20 for it even back then. But hopefully it gets a reissue. A little bit of that black mark stuff here and there eventually makes it back in circulation. We saw the Edge of Sanity stuff finally get reissued just in the past year or two. So maybe Cemetery's Day will come. I don't know. Maybe it's considered too small a fish for the label to want to bother with. Don't know, but we can hope.
That's a shame.
I even like the one after it, Godless Beauty. I like too. It's a lot thrashier, but I like that record.
I like most of the Cemetery catalog. Yeah, they kept changing styles, but they were good at all of them.
Yeah, they were 100%. Well, shit, we did it. Lot of black metal for all you fine folks.
Sorry.
Here's
a quick follow-up on the Cemetery. Wade says that the main guy in the band has bought the rights back to his catalog.
Oh, cool.
So maybe he'll get it reissued. We'll see.
Nice. Patience.
And, Queen 2. Yeah, Queen 2 does have kind of a winter vibe to it. I hadn't thought of that. But yeah, with like father to son, a little bit of the whole, big epic Nordic thing going on. I can see that. Hadn't thought of that. Cool pick. Okay. Sorry, Marty. Go ahead.
No.
Wrap it on up.
We're good. Pat, as always, it's great to see you, man.
Absolutely.
Likewise.
Hope you've been well.
Always fun hanging out with you.
Yeah. Everybody, go ahead.
It's been a good. Oh, sorry. It's always like there's a slight delay, and it's always like, yeah. It's not been the best year for the world, but for me, it's been good. It's really good to be back in Salem. I'm back on my Sigma grind set with cranking out videos, trying to do it every week. Work is good, family's good. I'm feeling pretty healthy and everything, so it's always pretty rad to come in and chat with everybody. I was in the Discord pretty frequently for a while, and I'm so bad at being part of communities. It's nothing personal against anybody. I just always slack off and don't, but really nice people in there. So it's a good group of folks for sure. So thanks for having me.
Oh, absolutely. Anytime. Yep.
Everybody, Pat's got an amazing series of shows that he's just put out here the last month showing his top 100 albums of all time. Go check those out. Link in the description. Of course, Let's Talk Metal every Tuesday in the morning. What's this next week coming up, Alan?
I think I've been doing series on albums I ditched over the years. I kept a list of them for decades, but never really looked at the list. So I've been just scrolling through that list live on camera to see what kind of things I got rid of back in the day. Because I don't know what's on the list, and some of the stuff, it's interesting because I can't remember what the heck it was or why I got rid of it, and some of it's stuff I replaced later on. I think the next chunk is going to be D through G. We're like 3 or 4 videos in, and I've gotten through 7 letters of the alphabet. The list is much longer than I realized. So, but folks have been enjoying getting to kind of pick at some of the stuff. It's like, you got rid of that? Really? Why? Like, yeah, because reasons. So, but yeah, it's been a fun little walk through memory lane that just has several potholes in it I can't really fill in or explain. So we'll do a chunk of that, I think, next week.
Awesome. Fun. And let's see here. Sunday, Mandatory Metal and Mayhem Sunday show on the Shredbeard channel. I'll be hanging out with Shredbeard and Toasted Goat. It was awful kind of them to invite me for a little chat. I'll be there 8:00 Eastern time.
Your 4th show in 6 nights.
Oh my God. I've been a
busiest man on the internet.
Streaming slut this past week. But yeah, next week, Album Club is Sacramentum's Far Away from the Sun.
Nice.
And Friday, Lee from Warhammer 666 will be joining us to talk about and rank the Running Wild catalog. So
Nice.
yeah, I've got a lot of pirate metal to consume here. I've been
I like
starting,
that.
but not as deeply as I wanted to. So what were you gonna say, Pat?
I like that guy. He's funny.
Hell yeah. Awesome. But that's it. Everybody, thank you. Happy New Year. First show of the year. Let's crank them out. A bunch more coming at you in 2026. We appreciate all of you. Thanks for hanging out. Now, also, check out the Discord. A lot of fun. It's busy. Devin holds court over that place. For some reason, he loves it. We love having him.
Yeah,
He's a
appreciate.
very-
Yeah, Devin really kind of conducts traffic over there a lot, and
Yep.
we appreciate him always being there and interacting with folks.
Sweet.
Awesome. Cool. Everybody, thank you again. Have a great one. We'll see ya.